no cowboy.
I hate you so much.
We love you, comics.
I love you.
I love it because, like, right when I refresh to hear whether the music is going or not, because apparently it was unmuted for me, and there's nothing worse than hearing your own stream while you're live. I click it, I hear "I hate you so much."
You know, I noticed something right before we came online. Steven has really small hands.
Do I? You think? My palms are huge, though.
You would think.
is that-
I do have like tiny digits. What's that, Snippy? Good luck on your surgery tomorrow, Scotty. Good luck, sir.
Yeah. I'll still be more.
Hopefully,
of a man than
that was
you.
public knowledge.
The
Oh,
snip,
wow!
yes, snipperoo is public knowledge. Yes. I'm getting singed. It's not even a snip. They singe you now. Okay.
Sure.
I get to take good drugs, and I'm not going to be like relapsing for.
We'll
it.
mourn your manhood.
So yay me,
dude.
No?
you have like 20
go
bags
screw
of ice.
yourself, man.
You have 20 bags of ice ready to go, right, man?
Right. They're gonna be like
I
cantaloupes.
got a lot of
bro.
ice.
You got a sling for them things? Like I heard
lot
they
of ice.
blow up after that. You know?
Yeah, dude. You're gonna walk around
I'm
with a
sorry,
wheelbarrow for like a week.
Some men
Are
are
we-
too
are we
fertile.
still
I have
monetized?
to control it.
For the first
I
time
don't
in your
know.
life, you're gonna see your own testicles.
I gotta ask, man. So, like, do you just stare at women and they immediately get pregnant or something, or what?
Pretty much. It literally, like, if there's no contraceptive of some sort, I'm gonna get you pregnant. So I have to do this for future generations, or less than future generations. Yes. There's
Beware
one of
the
my
Drew.
kids right now, Drew.
We have a few more people joining us tonight. Hopefully Danny will make it again.
I don't know. This might get to be a bit of a crowded room. Or are you sure you should stick around? I mean, nobody's going to hear anybody.
Well, we'll try and keep it under control.
We'll be
Well,
adults.
We'll try.
Scott, man, you must have ran into some hot Asian chicks.
Well, I have my past. There was the 90s.
You setting up franchises in the 90s?
Yep. Nice.
No more.
How's
The
it?
show's yours, comics. The show's yours.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to know I have my show back. Let's go around the horn and introduce everybody, starting with Culture Casino. How are you doing, Culture?
I'm fantastic. I'm Culture Casino. I have a YouTube channel. I get to hang out with amazing people. I'm very happy with that. Subscribers have been going up. Thank you. Likes have been going down. I'm getting more dislikes now, which means I'm doing something right. So I'm very happy about that. The live channels just started to kick. I'm on my way to 100 subscribers over there, which is kind of cool. And I'm launching the news channel next week sometime. And that'll be a place where I'll talk a little more politics and actual news stuff and not just pop culture. So it'll be
You'll immediately be demonetized, just like Odin.
on that channel.
Yeah, his OMB report got demonetized.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really? So I will no longer make money?
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, comics. That's good
The-
looking.
He's looking out for you.
Yeah.
Best-
The crapshoot.
Yeah, apparently reading articles and giving your opinion is not allowed on YouTube anymore. So watch out, Tim Pool. Watch out, man. We also have author Stephen Walton tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, comics. Thank you for having me back. I've been gone for a few weeks. Had to go on vacation, but here I am next to Culture's hair.
As long as there's no creepy hair sniffing, no, I guess we're good.
Well,
No, he's
Manly locks.
several thousand miles away. I'm good.
Yeah. Also joining us tonight, early as a matter of fact, is the supreme heretic himself, Drew Taylor. How are you doing, Drew?
Hey, how's it going, folks? Drew Taylor, aka the man that writes for Bounding into Comics, and we kind of preempted our Pegasus Actual podcast tonight because I thought, it's important that that kind of takes a back seat to more of the important issues of what we're going to speak on tonight. And other than that, I've just spent the day researching stuff for stories and also fighting with loony leftists on Twitter. So it's been an eventful day for me.
Awesome. Also joining us tonight is the man in the middle, Ishii himself. It's been a while, Ishii. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I am Jay Ishiro Finney, author and alien in a human suit, and I am the author of such books or graphic novels as Case File Arkham and World War Kaiju. So go over to Amazon and buy them because, you know, comics in general suck and mine don't.
Yep, pretty much. In the very rare occurrence, we also have Scott with us tonight. How you doing, Scott?
Yeah, I'm here as long as my crappy computer will allow me. Add one more person, I'll probably crash because it sucks, but my new computer will be coming at some point. But this is Sporky News Podcast with no production value, and we love Toxic Man Flu hates Disney.
Yep.
And last but not least, we have Comic Chat himself, Danny. How are you doing, Danny?
All right. I appreciate the invite. I think it's going to be a very interesting conversation.
I think so.
I'm ready to get into it.
Yep.
So I guess all of us have been aware of the fact that Gina Carano has been officially removed from Lucasfilm for reasons. And I know for me, it really was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yep.
Any goodwill that they built is gone after this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they got it big time. It broke last night. We were actually live on Bounding Live, and I see, by the way, Mercale in the chat. You know, he was there last night. Great to see some of you folks that were over on Bounding into Comics last night. But yeah, it broke right in the middle. We had Gary on, as a matter of fact, and we were talking about pop culture and stuff, and then all of a sudden, boom, it comes across the Variety article, and then we just stopped in the middle of everything and went to covering that as it broke, and yeah, I mean, it was almost immediately that it started gaining steam, where the cancel Disney Plus hashtag got trending, and because the community really went to work on that, and yeah, as more and more people found out, it was just a big wave of support. I was impressed to see it. I was glad that people came out and supported Gina Carano, because I believe in her message. And I don't think she did anything in the wrong at all. If anything, she was, just putting the old adage out there. If you don't learn from the lessons of history, you're doomed to repeat it. And, go figure, you get canceled for that now.
Thus far, though, we haven't got any official statement from Disney Lucasfilm on this. This just comes from a spokesperson that spoke to The Wrap. So I'm waiting for something.
The Variety, The Wrap, and here's the thing. I know that when I responded to Danny, I said either this is, fake news, in which case Disney hasn't come out and said it corrected it, which makes me believe that it's not. And it just goes to show you that you can't trust the Access media, because they'll just freaking lie to you. So we haven't seen anything official on I guess the Disney Twitter account, have we?
No, not yet.
No.
Don't you
No.
think Disney would have came out by now if this was false, because of all the bad publicity? So they're in damage control right now, trying to figure out the right way to tell us all to just go screw ourselves, pretty much, but in a pleasant Mickey way.
Yeah, I guess.
You have to consider this. If this news was being suppressed, until after a certain day, that day would have been today.
You mean those earnings reports that came out today?
Yeah, the quarterly earnings report for Q1 came out, and they really don't have any good news because they're talking. They lost 43 cents. Their EPS was minus 43 cents. The estimate, and so they lost money again. They lost a bunch of money again, and the only positive thing they have going on is Disney Plus. And then this thing drops right before their Q1 call. I don't think they probably wanted that to happen. which is why you didn't hear the story today either. So they're going to make it a Friday. Friday in the news industry is called taking out the trash.
Yeah.
So this is the day that you dump things in the 5 o'clock news cycle. So this thing is going to be an out the door statement going into the weekend. So just, I mean, if they're going to dump it, that'll be when it'll get dumped. Or
No, that would make sense.
Let me ask a question. Do you think they meant to have it maybe released tomorrow and it just got out early? Because no way they would have done this before their quarterly report.
Or did somebody sabotage them?
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
I think this person had an axe to grind and gave it to somebody. And that happens. I mean, it happens politically as well. I mean, you have people in the halls of power in every administration that have dumped stories when they had an axe to grind that the administrations, no matter who they were, didn't want to have happen. I mean, Carter had that happen. Reagan had it. I mean,
What about?
I'm sorry, real quick, Steve. What angers me so much is that, like, and it's not Star Wars, it's not Lucasfilm, but like, I finally have an MCU thing that I'm really enjoying right now. Like, I'm really enjoying WandaVision. Like, for me, you can ask Danny, he thinks I hate everything. I actually really love WandaVision. I think it's smart, it's fun, it's dark, and it just kicks me in the nuts. They like take 2 steps forward. Kicks me in the nuts. Takes 2 steps forward, and then they take like 3 or 4 back. It just pisses me off, man. I set myself up.
I wasn't gonna say shit.
The thing of it is you have to wonder now if there was some credence to the whole 2-faction thing behind the scenes that Doomcock had alluded to.
It does bring that into question, because then how could something like that happen if this is true?
You know,
what was with Doomcock's hand wringing today? I was kind of like, come on, dude. There was absolutely nothing wrong with what she said.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why such the cuck?
No, I think he felt like there were some people, some influential people. He felt like he had to restate his position so that it was more intelligible for them. We run into that frequently, where we have to say, "Okay, idiot, let me explain this in English," But I think that was some of it. But hey, I mean, he's not wrong as far as what is going on inside. I just don't know to the extent that I don't think we'll ever see Gina Carano back with Disney.
No.
Probably not.
No. My feeling is that even lending any degree of credence to claiming that what she said was somehow offensive or wrong is essentially making him just as guilty as the rest of them, because he's saying, "Well, it was bad what she said." Really? How?
Okay. So so we're all on the same page.
That's my opinion. That's my opinion.
I have the quote pulled up. This is what she posted to Instagram. Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors. Reads the post. Oh wait. Okay. I'm actually reading this from an article. I thought it had the entire thing, which was shared on Instagram. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where the Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is this any different from hating someone for political views? And that was what she stated. And
I don't. Do you disagree?
No, I don't.
I think
you're
right.
Valid point. And the thing is this, it's a valid point, because yes, anytime you bring in, Yahtzee Germany, it's a very, and what the Jews went through, it's a very, it's a slippery slope, because it was a horrific genocidal type of world the world was in at that moment. But what she was just trying to say is it had to get there somehow, and how it got there was they slowly turned one group of people into non-humans so that their neighbors wouldn't care anymore. And if you haven't been watching the news lately, and the social media and the government, they treat Republicans or conservatives, as if they are not human, and that what they're doing is wrong. I mean,
not only that, you've had journalists say that it should be okay to drone strike
exactly
American citizens, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. And it's not like there was a star of the show who called half of the country Nazis or white supremacists. Oh wait, that did actually happen.
Right.
I'm sorry. Oh, by the way, Vigilante Wednesday with another episode. Yelling at park cars.
Yeah, I've got a
upset.
sneaking suspicion that maybe the reason Disney found this so offensive is, the top leadership, Favreau, Iger's replacement, are all Jewish, but yet they've been doing business with a country, and they've been criticized for it, that are putting people into internment camps and executing them for their beliefs. And Disney has been using the slave labor from those camps.
Yeah.
A little CCP action.
Yeah. What was the movie that Disney used? Was it Uyghur slave labor from China to do the
Mulan?
That would be
Mulan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
and here's the thing:
shoe fits,
if people are upset because of her post, then I'm going to share Pedro Pascal's, which is hang on, if I could freaking share my screen like a normal human being here.
You can do it. We believe in you.
Yeah, they changed the interface a bit. So he posted this back in 1984. 2018. God,
Great
my brain
year.
is not
Great
working.
year.
Yeah. This is America. It says Germany, 1944, and then it has the what was going on with the detention camps. This is America, 2018. So, why are people offended by Gina Carano's tweet, but not by Pedro Pascal's tweet?
Because projection comics, because the type of people that are upset about this have been screaming about Nazis and pointing the finger at alt-right this and calling people fascists for about 8 years now. So that is their narrative. You can't turn that around on them. That's a crime.
It's odd too, because the people that were being placed in prisons, whatever you want to say, detained is probably the right way to say that, that were illegally crossing the border. Those particular things were put in place. Those cages were built by the previous administration, not the ones he was trying to point out.
Well, as I recall, there were no Jews
difference-
actually.
Go
As
ahead.
I recall, there were no Jews actually illegally crossing into Germany to be put into camps.
Right.
Well, here's the
Good
thing.
point.
It's like I don't agree with the separating the kids from the parents, which I know a lot of people were pissed about, and for good reason. But yeah, it's those cages were built by the previous administration. So anyway. Danny, you've been awfully quiet. Is there anything you want to inject in here?
I'm just waiting my turn. First of all, I want to say I don't think she did anything wrong. I think she should get her job back, and I think this is kind of blown out of proportion. But having said that, there are certain trigger words that if you're not in that particular group, it's going to immediately piss other the people that are in the group that you're talking about or using as an example off. And I think that's what she did, because there's so much anger, hurt, and pain. Whenever you bring up the word Nazi and Jews, people just sometimes tune out if you're Jewish. Being a black man, if someone that does not look like me says the N-word, I'm instantly ready to fight. So I kind of understand that trigger word mentality. So I don't think, like, again, I will say, I don't think she did anything wrong. But when you're an entertainer or you're somebody in that spotlight, you have to be very careful what you put out there, because you can't unring the bell.
But Danny, could I say
something that is? Go ahead.
Oh no, Danny, I was just going to ask you, does it go both ways though?
Yeah.
You have people on the left that call everybody that's conservative, white nationalists, Nazis. They should all be rounded up and killed. These are actors, these are governors, these are politicians that are saying this about half of the American population, but yet nothing happens because of that.
Oh, Scott,
I don't think it's fair. I'm just saying, in this particular situation, I'm thinking from the outside looking in is why she lost her job and career, which is totally unfair. But I'm just saying, once you get yourself in that particular business, you have to be ultra careful, because I'm going to use a Bible passage in Ecclesiastes, like, when you increase wisdom, when you increase wisdom, you also increase pain. And what I mean by that is that 15 years ago, none of us could talk to each other like we're talking now.
True.
But I'm talking to somebody in Texas. I'm talking to somebody, and that's just how fast. When she said that, which could have been a knee-jerk reaction, something she said, "Oh yeah, this might be good." Didn't have a sounding board or a team to say, "Well, Gina, we don't want to do that," and now it's cost her a career. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. I disagree with it, but that's just the world that we live in now. So you got to be ultra careful when you're in that particular spotlight.
I get that. But if it was applied equally, like Pedro Pascal is not going to lose his job, and he's said some pretty inflammatory things as well. I mean, he basically compared Trump supporters to Nazis. I read an article where Mark Hamill says something that was derogatory, but he took it off real quick. I guess before the masses could see it. Like I said, we all done knee-jerk reactions. The only thing is that now with this particular format, that knee-jerk reaction could cause you big time, and I think that's what happened.
This is it might have been because what the people that are really offended by this or really are hurt is historically by this is the Jewish population, a minority group, and so nobody's really cared about how reckless they've been at the mouth about using that World War II as an example. Jesse Milestone of Mindless Entertainment, shout out, just did a great video on that. About from her perspective, and you're Danny is I think right on in saying that.
In that same stream, didn't she create the hashtag Jews for Gina?
But on the flip side, how many times has the ADL, the SPLC, Atlantic Magazine, CNN all compared Trump supporters to Nazis?
Oh, they've done it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no consequences whatsoever. And then Hollywood celebrities going so far as to say these people are the Nazis and punch them.
Right. That's not just political. It's a social statement. And it's been coming out since 2012 to 2014 is when it really started getting organized. This acceptable behavior.
They destroyed their company just to push that narrative.
Mm-hmm. If it be true. I'm still saying I don't even know if it's true. Like I want to see an official statement.
I mean, shit. How many of these Wall Street companies? There was literally a Jewish, finance writer comparing the GameStop revolt to the Nazis and the Holocaust.
Well, they also said Tom Brady was racist for winning the Super Bowl. Yeah. It's ridiculous. You could say anything. It just depends what side you're on. If you're on the right side of it, actually the left side of it, you can get away with saying anything. If you're on the right side of it, you have to walk a special line nowadays, and that's hypocritical.
So some nutty Jewish guy who's a finance writer for, I forget, was the Wall Street Journal or something, can say something as absurd as, oh, well, people putting money into GameStop is like the Holocaust. He keeps his job because he's Jewish, and it's still a moronic thing to say. I don't get it.
Yeah, look, it's
that's the real issue is the double standard. Go ahead. I can cut you off.
No, please.
No, it's culture time.
No.
Go ahead, Vigilante.
Okay. I'm sorry because I have a thing where I feel like I'm cutting people off. First off, shout out to Drunk 3PO in the chat. I see you in the chat.
Oh yeah, definitely. And congrats on raising all that money, Drunk. That's awesome.
42K.
Yeah,
really cool.
That was awesome. Tonight I will not call you a dick.
Yeah, just tonight though. Just tonight. I said, to be Angel's advocate. Let's say if I had Vigilante Corp, I could see this tweet in a vacuum being like, hey, I just don't want to see it. But that's provided I had a social media policy that had been enforced ever since Rian Johnson and every comics writer in Marvel who talked so much shit. They created Comicsgate. And then, of course, Justina Ireland and Christina Ariel. And, of course, we mentioned Pedro. If we hadn't forced that same social media policy all these other times, then, yes, I could see somebody being like, you know what? This is our policy. This is what we're doing. You got to go. But they fucking encouraged Justina Ariel. I believe that's the one they encouraged. I can't remember because it was like a racist every week.
They did encourage her, right?
But I think that's the one. Was she? Yeah, one of them.
Yes.
But it's like that's to me the bigger issue than anything. Like I like her. I don't want to see someone lose their job, even though all they have to do is go on YouTube. You go in the right hand corner, click create a channel, and tweet out the link, and you probably make more money off of that than you did off the Mandalorian. But the real issue is the not double standard, the standard which says you're wrong because of wrong think, and anything you do is not allowed.
Right.
You can do
Well,
whatever you want.
it is double standard, and that's like the biggest thing I know that in the early days of Comicsgate, I always brought up was the whole thing with social media policies. If I was tweeting out to my customers the things that the writers and the artists were saying, I would be fired from my job in a split
rightfully
second.
so.
Yeah, rightfully so. And I'm not calling for these people to be fired, but what I'm calling for is that there be some form of accountability with them when it comes to social media, either saying, hey, knock it off, you keep it up, you're gone.
And it has to be unilateral.
And it's exactly. And this has been a huge problem that has plagued Disney and Marvel for a number of years now. It's gotten to the point where I can't even follow comic pros anymore because most of them have lost their freaking minds and they hate their customers.
Right, but customer service is an alt-right dog whistle, dude. Come on, get that one.
Yeah.
So is hard work.
Yeah. Well, you have people like Ron Mars basically saying, which technically he is true. He is right that I'm not his customer. Marvel is, and Marvel is the customer of the shops, which is technically accurate. But the thing he doesn't understand is that his actions, he is representing his material or his comic or Marvel.
Yes,
that affects me as a customer. Going, this guy's a dick. I'm not going to buy his book. I don't care how great it is, but if he's insulting me as a customer, I'm not going to buy the product.
No.
Well, the other thing that I kind of wanted to point out that if we zoom out and take a bigger picture here, the thing is that, and I think you've done a good job of pointing this out on the Great Reset streams and everything, comics. We're living under an oligarchy. Let's be real. Okay. It's a marriage of government and megacorps. And we are in the middle of that right now. And if you don't think that megacorps are helping to dictate policy, they are. They are absolutely helping to dictate policy. Big tech is, to a smaller degree, big entertainment. It's all working in concert together, and they are all pushing one narrative. And unfortunately, if you don't happen to line up with that, essentially they're telling you, well, we want to push the other half out. They want to make whatever this dystopian, echo chamber that they're living in, they want to make it the actual reality instead of the simulated reality that they live in. And they want
which is Twitter.
Yeah, and they want to do it at our expense because we're not on board and we dare to question it. So, we're evil. And it's very hard to maintain a consistent voice among all this when you've got, everything that dictates policy and everything else working against you. So you're essentially working against a machine. And that's what we're all doing right now, just by speaking on the topic, is we're working against the machine, really.
On the machine's site too, which is hard. When you got one. All right, so
we're like Neo in the Matrix, Scott.
Exactly, dude. Oh my God, we are like Project Veritas is.
Oh yeah.
Is like journalism to me. They are hard hitting. They're it's not detective journalism. I can't think of the term we used to always use as kids, but they're. I consider them journalism, where they go out, they tried to find where people are lying, and when they put something up on Facebook and then Twitter suspends them for what they put on Facebook, right there that all these groups are working together. They're worse than Carnegie. They're worse than Rockefeller. They're worse than those barons. This is really what it is. It's the new robber barons, pretty much. They control the narrative. They control media. They control the information, man. They control information. It's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a big club, and we're not in it.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's something that should be sobering to everyone. and should really strengthen our resolve across the board, to be honest. Because if we don't say anything now,
your avatar is strengthening my resolve.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, I am 100% pro Gina. So,
hey.
But we need to keep doing what we're doing, because if we don't, we will just get rolled over by this, and it will become the actual reality. Because we know what reality is. When you walk out the door, the sky is blue. But these people that want to say, and yell till the cows come home that the sky is actually purple, and try to convince everybody else that the sky is actually purple, no. We know differently. But these people and their social constructs and everything that they're supported by, since they're supported by, the mainstream and the machine, well, it's going to roll right over us if we don't do anything.
Danny, you got something to say? Look like you're warming up.
Yeah.
I'm just listening to Hedrick, man. I'm agreeing with what he's saying. It's just, I have that much hope that Disney might do the right thing, because they did the right thing with James Gunn. But
man, I respect you, Danny. I love you, man. You are always positive. You are always positive. I respect that. I have no hope. It's sad.
Yeah. Danny, I don't think they're going to bring her back, though. I don't think they're going to bring her back.
One thing I also want to make clear, I also defended James Gunn. I don't think he should have been fired for his past tweets either, because if you know anything about James Gunn, you know he came from trauma. The guy was basically a shit poster, and maybe when they get hired, they say go through and delete this crap that's going to make people mad. Maybe you should do that.
I've seen stories. I'm big into sports, and I don't know if any of y'all know Stephen A, but he was he was tossed out of ESPN, but Skip Bayless fought for him, got him back in. He's not successful. So I'm hoping that there's somebody in the Disney, Lucasfilm, whoever will fight for Gina and get her back, because she don't deserve to lose her job. I mean,
no.
Let me ask you a question, Culture. Do you think Jon Favreau will try? Was he shocked today? Was he shocked?
He was shocked yesterday. I think he was shocked. I think
that's what I mean.
He may have known a few days before that, but to be honest with you, they may have cushioned it for him, and he probably lost his mind saying, "This is my show," and all of that. But here's the thing, and I can't confirm that yet. I reached out today, and I know some other people have, to the people they know too. But everything I had heard going into this, everything that I'd heard from people who would know, was that it's John's show, and John doesn't care. John doesn't care about the noise around social media. He just doesn't. You can talk to Tom. He'll tell you that the same thing came out of the camp he was hearing from, everything else, right? So somebody flexed when it came to contract negotiations, and they just didn't renew her for her character, which means they also aren't signing her to the character that essentially she was supposed to play herself in the Rangers show. So they're killing two things at once. And here's the thing, guys. A lot of people got a big ray of hope with the 7-minute Luke appearance at the end of The Mandalorian. And think about what happened successively after that. You were called racist, terrible humans by two different people in Lucasfilm. And then they fire the one shining star who's number 2 on IMDb's top hottest stars list right now.
Well, and she did so much for the brand, right? She generated so much goodwill between the fans and Disney, to where people started going, okay, maybe we can move past this this shit show of the Disney,
but they were the wrong fans.
Trilogy. But and now we're back at square one, because me as a fan, the one thing that was kind of holding me down, and now I'm like, oh, fuck this, I'm done.
I'm completely done with Disney as a company.
But to that end, Vigilante. Well, hey, look. Here's the thing,
because they won't thin ice with me.
Normally, I would stay up tonight and watch WandaVision. I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, I'm not covering it anymore. I'm done.
I will honor my current I won't say agreements, but I'm still going to show up for Anzo's show. I'll review it, but after that, it's like, we'll see. I'm not gonna say never say never, but right now I'm
not
pissed.
Fair comic division, because I was planning on inviting you to do Falcon and Winter Soldier roundtable. So now you tell them you ain't gonna do it.
Oh,
Really?
Danny. Oh man, because
commitments that we have to different shows or
yeah,
series,
that's
we got to keep. We're gonna keep. I'm gonna keep mine.
Exactly. I'll keep my commitments, and since Danny, I know that you want me on, I'll keep my commitment to you as well.
There you go.
But I'm not going to review this crap on my channel. So
I don't have to pay for Disney Plus, so it doesn't matter. So,
yeah,
I didn't get to cancel it because I didn't have rating.
But go ahead.
Somebody go.
Okay, I'll go.
Go ahead.
I'll go. No, I didn't. I'm not paying for Disney Plus, but I just don't want them to have the rating. Everybody, listen. I'm not calling for a boycott. Everybody has to do what's best for them. I remember when the whole cutie situation happened, and some people were like, "Oh, I'm canceling Netflix for my grandmother and my mom." I was like, "Don't do that. It's your mom. Let her watch Netflix." You know what I mean? So everybody has to do what's best for them. You know, if you still want to watch their shows, that's on you. But with me, this was like the final straw. It was just so what you just said about Luke, I said an hour after it happened. I said, Disney's not to be trusted. This is a Trojan horse. And literally every single week, I've been proven right. You gave a sports analogy. Everyone knows Max Kellerman said that Tom Brady would fall off a cliff, and it's been the most wrong statement that anyone's made about everything. I have never been so right about anything as I was about Lucasfilm.
ESPN's a Disney company, by the way, so shouldn't he be canceled for that?
Yeah, right.
I think Disney has very much been agenda driven for quite a long time, and their commitment to not only ruining current franchises but retconning the past, making movies disappear, which they're doing, and re-editing films to make them fitting to their world vision. I think Disney has to go, honestly.
At this point,
actually, they should be subjected to the antitrust laws that should be serving the people of this country. The whole purpose of them was to break up the giant corporations. And I have a story I'm covering next week. I was talking a little bit backstage with comics about it. This isn't the first time that all these entities get together and they talk about things and they purposefully do stuff as a unit, which is illegal. That form of collusion is illegal, but it's happened many times with all of these different studios on multiple occasions. And
it happens at Bohemian Grove, people.
Well, no, they're practicing, the acts of being a trust or a cartel, and they specifically are prohibited by law from doing that. And we're in a weird place where nobody's being held accountable for the fact that their sheer existence, the existence that they have right now, is illegal.
The government supports them. The government that's in charge now supports them. Culture, that.
The government's employed by them.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
If you're talking about dismantling, get rid of Disney, you're pretty much wasting your breath. Because Disney is Americana.
No, we're talking more social media companies that work together.
I misunderstood what he said. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would say
what we need to stop is the collusion between these companies. That's the big issue.
Yeah, and the problem breaking them up is preventing them from being too big to fail, Danny. I mean, right now, is it okay that Disney now owns 2/3 of all entertainment production? Is that okay? That means
I don't think it's fair.
You're not going to get any diversity of content.
Hang on, I got to address a comment in the chat real quick. Hey, grumpy old man plays games. I want to let you know my wife is Jewish, so if you really think that I support anti-Semitism, you're dead wrong. And this is not bigots supporting bigots. I'm sorry. If you got proof that she is a Holocaust denier, please provide it. If not, go away.
See, that is the typical dodge. We start criticizing Hollywood, and that comes up. No, Hollywood's made up of countless types of people, not just one.
Right.
Yeah, okay, you're right. But no, we're in this weird place where you have these entities right now that control everything. That's not the way it's supposed to be. So now this is the thing that I don't understand why the left doesn't get behind. You're suppressing wages. They don't have to compete anymore. You don't have to compete for talent. You don't have to compete for content. Yeah, this stuff is decided in back rooms. It's illegal.
And it goes even farther, man. It even goes farther. Think about Alphabet. Alphabet has so much power that they shut down Parler because they didn't agree with what people were talking about on Parler.
Well,
it's unbelievable.
It was well. Okay, so first off, the whole thing with Parler was shut down because Twitter signed a multi-year arrangement with AWS, which is Amazon Web Services. So it was not about censorship. It was about basically cutting out the competition because they started losing accounts to Parler, and so they just cut the competition.
Yep.
Right, but how does Alphabet fall into that? When
they
it's
do
different...
actually. Here's the thing: if you're a service provider of any sort, and you have to honor your contracts. That's something to be negotiated in a court of law. But as far as the rest of it goes, if you're given, this is the same thing with the airwaves. So let's start there. You are given a broadcast license. Because you promised to uphold these certain things. You promised to provide news as a form of, your daily form of entertainment to have your broadcast license. When you got your ICANN address way back in the day when they were doling out IPs and so on and so forth, that is something that the government strictly controlled. And, they allowed for resellers to parcel them out. But to be honest with you, essentially, the government could come along and say, you know what, you no longer have control of IP 8.8.8.8, which is Google, by the way. You no longer have, but that's a nerd thing to know. I'm sorry. But it's one of those things where theoretically they could turn that around on them. But ultimately, when you have no competition, you have no room for growth, innovation. You suppress all those things, and you create which is why now the iPhone and the freaking Android thing. I don't care what any of you say; they look the friggin' same. They work the freaking same. They have the same freaking apps on them. They're slightly different in the way they operate as far as their OS.
Yeah,
basically, I'd be able to dig it. I think iPhone's superior.
Look, I can
dig out, bro.
Well, I'm just
saying. For me, I can't speak for you.
I don't disagree with you. I like iPhone. I mean, I'm pretty technology agnostic. I've used the. I went from an iPhone to an HTC, which actually was pretty nice. It started pissing me off. I ended up going back to the iPhone mainly because of the ecosystem. Since I'm a Mac user, it's just a lot easier.
When I'm holding, I right next to me, I'm looking at two iPhones, right? So I'm just saying, but I've had, Samsung Galaxy Notes and all that stuff. So to me,
I'm a Samsung guy.
Yeah, it's
same here.
Again, you're having no diversity. It's like no diversity of thought, no diversity of conversation. They're looking for this monocle thing. They want a monotone, which means you will live in a very bland, flat world with nothing. There will be no creativity. There will be no adjustment in wages because you no longer have to compete for talent. You don't have. There's no pressure on you to give your talent any more money because you just go hire somebody for the same nickel that you're paying the other guy. And that's why this world, that's the way capitalism works when you don't have monopolies, when you don't have monopolistic practices, when you don't have cartels form to work against the very citizenry that they're supposed to, provide goods for, and their workers and everything else. I mean, this is why the unions got into bed with the current political structure is, they actively destroyed jobs knowing full well they were going to do it. They can't explain themselves. They've destroyed things, and they're going to continue to do so. They've been doing it for a while.
You got a purdy lip culture.
I know people without any self-awareness destroy things. That's all.
All right, guys. I built up quite a few super chats, and as author Stephen Walton reminded me I need to get to them. No, you're good, dude. You're good. So I should probably get through some of these real quick. So, Toxic Man Flu hates Disney for $2. Let me know when it's been 15 minutes. It's been 44 minutes.
Hell, Toxic Man Flu. He's the man.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
I guess the question is are we still monetized? Damn it, jump.
I'm still online.
All right. That pisses me off. I have to read these guys. Sorry, I can't highlight them like I normally do because things jumped. All right. Toxic Man Flu hates Disney for another $2. Scott is so potent he gets men preggers.
I got the sauce.
All right. Culture Casino for a $149 with a very phallic unicorn. We also have Crazy Cat Guy for $5 saying hiya, which is that fox dog looking thing.
Hey.
We also have Admiral March Hare, who is also here for $4.99. The irony that they proved her right by their throwing mud on her on the way out, in addition to firing her.
Yep.
Yeah. Toxic Man Flu hates Disney for $5. This proves the double standard, doesn't it? Because what she said was true. They are making free thinkers into invisible people. We also have Lasso of Truth for $2. Hashtag we stand with Gina. Enjoy the stream, guys.
Lasso.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lasso. Makani90 for $5. If you have not checked out Makani on Twitter, he is a fantastic artist. Hail to everyone on the panel. Hashtag we stand with Gina. And a heart.
Mac has a foot fetish. We just said that today on a live stream with Fast Steven. So just letting you guys know that's a thing. And we like you. We still love you, Makani. We don't kink shame here.
Well, he's not a furry or anything.
No, he's a brony, though. He did admit to being a brony a few weeks back. So he's a brony and he's a foot fetish.
Hey, well, to each their own, I suppose.
I mean, that's kind of normal. Listen, compared to what you could be now in 2021, he's not. You didn't say polygamous or polymorphous or like.
That's true.
Polymorphism?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's
Maybe.
Lando again? What's Lando?
Yeah, Lando's fucking droids. It can get weird.
Yeah.
It can
Hey,
get
What's
real
wrong with
weird.
fucking a droid?
A
Droid
little bit
fucker.
of
Is
a
everything
little
all
bit
right?
of feet and some bronyism is not the end of the world in 2021.
Okay. There you go, Mac. There you go. Feel like
in 2009 maybe, but it's been a crazy year. We got real issues going on in this world.
Yeah. Bruce Lombardo for $4.99. How's it going, Bruce? Disney only found this offensive because of their investor meeting, which this was pushed the day before. They don't care about you or Gina. Yeah.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say this is absolutely not something that they wanted to have drop before their Q1 earnings call.
Probably not.
Yeah, especially when you start to see trends that say cancel Disney Plus. I mean, come on. This is on a day. It was trending the day before the investors call. Then it's trending during the day worldwide today. That's not a good look for them. But yeah, so I would say that probably wasn't the plan. But okay.
Celtic Cross Studios for $5. Jesse Milestone had a great video about Gina Carano's firing. Yeah, that got brought up earlier too.
Yes.
Let's see. Mr. Tickle Truck for $2 Canadian pesos. He has a fox dog farting hearts. Bruce Lombardo for $4.99 American pesos. If you want Tom Brady to stop winning rings, make him a Dallas Cowboy.
Rock on, Bruce.
Or you could make him a Detroit Lion. That would also stop it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it, Bruce.
You could check.
I'm sorry, Danny.
I think you'll make Danny's heart explode with that comment, man, because you're not exactly a fan of the Cowboys now, are you?
Hell no.
Yeah. Another way to stop Tom Brady from winning is actually drug test him, but we're not going to go there.
Hey. Actually, he left my Patriots. Screw him.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I mean, he's playing on an even playing field. I'm not to be that guy, but that's how sports has been the past 20 years.
Yeah.
That's buddy. Desert Rock Flower for $3.99 American pesos. Gina's tweet is true throughout time. Yeah,
yes, it is.
We're not disagreeing with that. Toxic Man Flu hates Disney for $2 American pesos. Ask VM why he throws gold balls at Stevie Wonder.
I don't know what they're talking about. I have no.
Are we
going?
What?
What does that even mean?
It means nothing. We're not talking. Next super chat.
Canceled.
The next super chat can be read. They're just it's craziness being talked about by crazies. I have no idea why Drew's laughing.
So lost right now, but I need to know.
No one needs to know. There's nothing to know.
I rolled in late, like after drunk stream last night. I rolled in late, and and I was like, "What just happened?"
Oh my god. Okay.
I need enlightenment.
It wasn't good.
It's out there now.
Okay. So, all right, let's set the scene. Now, if anyone knows who Wes Moody, who's in the chat, the
Wes.
wonderful Wes Moody,
Yes.
his channel, it has a thing about conspiracy theories. He has this thing with the quarter roll, if you know what that is. He had an episode with the one and only Great Neurotic talking about that Jackie Gleason and Richard Nixon see aliens together. This is what the stuff is on his channel. So we were singing Happy Birthday. I always sing the Stevie Wonder Happy Birthday to you. And then I'm like, did you ever see the video claiming Stevie Wonder can see? And so that brought up, it's a video where he catches this mic stand with his forearm.
Yep.
And so that opened up a can of worms in which they were talking about like throwing things at Stevie Wonder to see if he can see, which I was totally against, but it just went off the rails. So that's the reference.
Why do I feel that you are to blame for that?
Because you know why? Racism.
I need to flex Wes.
You know what? I can prove to you. I can prove that Stevie Wonder is blind. Okay, because no one would ever let anybody dress them that way.
The hair thing is also good evidence because I mean most people would have just shaved it, but like if you can't see, well he eventually did, I think, but for the longest he had to break. But I love Stevie Wonder. He's the greatest living musician, and now it's out there like I slandered him. I love Stevie Wonder.
But see, then the chat evolved while we were getting down to the bottom of that. Well, can he actually play catch?
Dude, stop! We ruined enough. People are leaving.
It's going to turn out Stevie Wonder is like Daredevil.
I would say the person who destroys Comics Division channel the best would be Comics Division.
I have to come in second there because so
that's the time Culture Casino had walked in when we were discussing like playing catch with golf balls with Stevie.
I love Stevie Wonder. Not the Stevie Wonder slander. It was just a conspiracy theory.
It's a funny conspiracy theory. So Wes Moody for $1.49 American pesos with a box of popcorn. That's a super sticker. And I'm almost caught where I could actually start showing these again. Toxic Man Flu hates Disney for 5 American pesos. Can we agree that Twitter has not been good for this country? No, it has not. I don't think it's been good for the world either. That gives me anonymous voice to immature people create pure unhealthy toxicity.
Yeah. Undisciplined children are now out in the world on Twitter. And, so we have like 30-year-olds that didn't, that were, they won a trophy no matter if they sat on the field and picked their nose. And they were educated under an idea that, nothing's real and just do what you feel.
And it had its moments, though. It did have its moments, like the Arab Spring and things like that. Like it helped change the world, but now it's just a toxic place where people that have shitty lives go to destroy people that have good lives. That's all it is now.
Well, I think we're taking one thing out of the equation here that really does need to be addressed. Let's face it, the Twitter we all came to know and join is not the Twitter we I'm not on it anymore, but that we're on because it has purposely been rewired via algorithm to actually piss people off and create negative engagements.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's being used by negative people who, like I said earlier, can't find validation, can't find enough people that will validate their oppression Olympics and their living victimhood in everyday life. Because a lot of people will just tell you about yourself or ignore you if you act like that. If you're a negative person who thinks in those types of those types of cycles. But on social media, you get to find all kinds of people that not only get to hide their identity but express their victimhood and blame ambiguous
I think
others for their ambiguous reasons.
Is that everyone knows that one weirdo that lived in their town or was in their high school,
right?
That
Stephen Walton.
Crazy things. The problem with the internet is that these crazy people have found each other online and basically built a community.
Well,
that's not even a real issue. The real issue is that they're giving credence, and literally the majority can say one thing, but if two people on Twitter says it, then the Washington Post will run with it and say the people say this. That's the real issue.
If the right people say it and retweet it and get on board with that idea, then yes.
Well, see, this is why I'm thankful that for those out there that are fellow Gen Xers or people that are the ones like the first millennials just came shortly after the Gen Xers. You guys understand, because a majority of us that are that age, we grew up pre-internet, and we can detach when we need to. We can go out and find diversions, and we trust our eyes in the real world. We don't have to be glued to screens. And that's something I think that we should cherish, because so many of the generations that came after, they can't detach from that. They can't stand to be away from the tech for not even 5 minutes.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with probably parenting, for one thing. I mean, all of us Gen Xers, we weren't born with a iPad, in our hands.
Yeah.
These kids so we can separate. We can move away from technology. I don't need to be on my phone. I don't need to be on my computer.
Yeah,
there's other things I can go do.
I had to go up, down, left, right, A, B, select, start to get extra guys in Contra.
No, by the way, Scotty,
who knew somebody.
Do you need to go, Scott? I saw you.
Yeah, I got to bounce. I got to get my beauty sleep for my snipping tomorrow. So, but make sure you check out the dump on Saturday when I'm sitting on a bag of ice. It's gonna be a good time.
You're really gonna do a live stream a day after you get your balls removed?
Yeah, I think you should live stream having it happen.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
You could probably get you could get your wife to like shoot the video footage for you, kind of like when you're doing the video.
I kind of want to do it from like a POV position where I'm looking at the doctor videotaping them and just being like, how's it going down there, doc?
Selfie stick, right? It's selfie stick. You just hold out the phone.
Scott, what will you do if you see and smell smoke?
I'm going to. They singe the shit, man. Oh God, I'm scared. I'm getting scared.
Let's not give him a complex before he goes.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Ibuprofen 800. Here I come.
You need something a little stronger than that, brother.
Well, Scotty, take care. It was always good. It's always good seeing you, my friend.
All right,
thank you, Drew.
Plug your channel.
Yeah, Sparky News Podcast. Soon enough, I'll be making videos again. But right now, all I do is live stream Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday nights. Wednesdays and Saturdays is bitching like this. But Monday nights is Song of Ice and Fire Book Club. If you hated what happened in Game of Thrones Season 8, you'll enjoy the book club because we talk about what really happens in the books. So
hey,
check
Scotty.
it out.
Hey, Scotty, Robert at 59 after the hour wants a ball video. So that's what your fans want.
Okay, I'll throw my balls at Stevie Wonder.
Ball video.
Have a great night.
Video.
Look what we've done. Look what you guys did. Now other people are doing it.
He's gonna see it coming.
People are doing
He's gonna see it coming. He's blind adjacent. Later, everybody.
Listen,
see, Scott.
He's blind. He's blind.
All right. See, you gotta understand. You gotta understand something, Vigilante. See, this is a community that
I love Stevie Wonder. Though. I've offended myself.
Yeah,
I've created conditions to be perpetually offended. I feel like I'm a leftist now.
But see, listen. This is a community that created a legend for Stephen Walton.
No, don't even go there. We ain't going there.
Listen, it was me, but it's Stevie.
So,
dude, wait.
We're gonna get canceled. You're making fun of. They're bigots who make fun of Stevie Wonder, and they'll be like, "Oh, Vigilante Wilson canceled the Phantom Menace." It's like, wow.
Dude, I'm going to say point blank. Look, Stevie Wonder, accomplished musician, superstar, legend in his own time. Nobody can deny that. Do you honestly think it would bother him if somebody made that joke? I don't think so.
No, it won't bother him.
You can't even hear.
Hang on. Let me get Pirate Tomsky's tweets. He's heading out real quick. So sorry, not tweets, super chats. Pirate Tomsky for £5. Twitter is awful. Gina rocks. Disney needs to be canceled move on to other socials like Gab, and let's be done with it. Yeah,
Follow me on Minds.
Mine's
I'm at Vigilante
I like
Williamson.
mine.
And his last one, which I think I can highlight without losing all the other ones, maybe.
You can do it. We believe in you.
Also for £5, £5 pesos. I don't know. I try to put pesos in front of it or behind everything. Jack Dorsey says social media is a human right. Guess all those deplatformed aren't human anymore. Welcome to the radical left.
Yep.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Hell.
Mm-hmm. Dead on.
Yeah. So take care, man. And I know it's really, really late in the UK right now. So
He's a night owl.
yeah.
Peace out, man. Get some sleep.
All right, let me see if I can get the rest of those super chats real quick. And let's see. Dude, I can't. Okay. So Toxic Man Flu hates Disney says Duck Disney. For 5 American pesos.
Yeah.
The Supreme Heretic Drew himself. I don't know why you're giving me money, Drew, for 2 American pesos. Stand up for truth and individuality. # never kneel. And I think I can get, here we go. Toxic Man Flu's super chat. For 2 American pesos, you're welcome, Vigilante Williamson.
You're not welcome. Thank you for getting us all canceled. I appreciate that.
You don't understand, Vigilante. Toxic isn't going to let this go. He's going to follow you in different
I know.
platforms, and he's going to keep this going. This is what he does.
It's funny. I don't think
He's a
he even
dick.
did it in my own live stream. He was all cool. It was such a cool thing in my own live stream. Now, I'm not even. Now I'm Vigilante Williamson. I'm Millhouse now. I don't even get my name right. He was all nice, like Peter and Meg or Family Guy, when he was all nice to Meg. We didn't want people to know. Tyson Man Flu's all nice in my stream. As soon as you guys come along, I was like, "Hey, remember Stevie Wonder? Let's throw shit Stevie Wonder." Like, geez, I love Stevie. He's the greatest living musician, and I'm sure he's heard funniest jokes.
Wes Moody has the greatest chat on YouTube.
We love his music, bro. But it's just, man, it's the craziest, like, out of left field thing. It was great. So
I just thought
That's
somebody else had heard this. I'm surprised I was the only one who heard this. They are saying,
and now it's yours. Now it's yours.
It's all yours, man. It's you. It's your staple
Hey,
mark. Everyone's going to know you for
with
this.
Eminem.
It's going to memes are going to just spawn out of the ether.
Dude,
that's great.
Tox is on fire tonight.
Oh yeah,
For $2, Vigilante Williamson. The term is blind adjacent. You foam.
Jason. Wow. Thank you, Toxic Man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Oh Christ!
Vigilante dropped the ball. Well, you know what? There's a lot of you are leaving, but for the 80 that are still here, the least you can do is sub. My channel will be yeeted soon, but while it still exists, please at least sub.
What's your content like?
It's a lot of what you get here, just me ranting.
He's actually pretty good.
It's me ranting. I'm starting to kind of get a schedule down. I just did a stream right before this talking about the Gina thing and the Super Bowl ratings being in the toilet, and then I'm going to do a stream on Saturday, and everyone's invited. If they want to come, I do a Brave and the Bold, where I just have guests and we just BS and talk.
Man, you picked the worst days. I'm usually doing tabletop Saturday.
Yeah, it's hard. And then I got to stream a lot less because I got real life stuff to do. So, yeah.
Oh man, I love this community though. Everybody embraces one another, and we're good enough friends that we like to give each other a hard time, and it makes our content when we get together even that much better.
Yeah, exactly, Supreme Heretic. For instance, Macany90 just gave us a super chat comics.
Yes, he did. Macany90 for 10 American pesos comics. I also got a YouTube channel. That is very true. Steven, I don't have a foot fetish. And just because I did MLP fan art on DeviantArt 6 years ago doesn't make me a brony.
Oh, yeah?
That does.
You're a brony with a foot fetish, Macany. Just embrace it. We don't think shame.
Walton's best brew.
Damn.
Oh dear. Okay, Dwaddle says comics, great news. You're still monetized, I think. And have just played as I As I exited and returned. That's good to know. Yeah, I just checked. It's still monetized for some reason. I love how they play ads right in the middle of live streams. I guess that's a setting I could probably change.
You know, the other week I had a stream just pulled right out from under me, right in the middle of it. Yeah, just.
Oh.
Me
And
too.
then
You
it
were
was-
hosting it?
What?
Were you hosting it?
Yeah. I was live streaming, and they canceled it right there, and I got a strike right then and there.
Dude, what were you talking about?
What?
Wow. Gee,
That
what?
happened to me too.
That's
Go
the
ahead.
thing. I don't know. I was giving my opinions on what I thought the Q conspiracy was, and my opinion was that it was an op and that it was meant primarily to keep people from rioting. I talked about that, and we talked about Olivia Munn being an airhead.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think it's the Olivia Mum thing.
That's widely known.
I mean, it really, there was nothing offensive about it. I mean, we
It
talked
was
a lot
probably the
about
Q
Boo.
stuff. I mean, they ban everything, whether it's people talking about the conspiracies or debunking them.
So even if I was, even though I was debunking it and saying I didn't think it was real, I was. You think they slam me for that?
Yeah. Well, they banned all that. YouTube has banned all the Q stuff, even the people who were speaking against it, which is dumb because you need people to counter, those kind of crazy narratives.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got my channel not down for talking about Jon Favreau, or my stream not down. I still do not know what I got not down for. I won the dispute, but I was literally talking about Jon Favreau and Star Wars, and my stream just got cut down.
Wow.
Okay, so Rania is saying, did you catch what Heather Antos said regarding Gina? No, you have to tell me because she blocked me years ago.
No, yeah, she was a piece of shit. I don't remember exactly. I can't even paraphrase, but she
Shout
did
out
her
to
normal
Yub
piece of shit.
This is all his fault.
Yeah, she did her normal piece of shit activity.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Wow, I guess maybe I should have got another topic for tonight. It seems like we already
just went
played
off the
out
rails.
Gina. Do we have more to talk about Gina Carano and Disney?
Dude,
hot.
she is
I mean,
hot.
Disney.
She is very attractive. Good job. I mean, good job. Good job.
Besides
Jay.
the fact that Danny won't let me quit watching Disney stuff because, I
Danny,
get reviews.
you know what? Danny hasn't said anything in a long time.
I know he hasn't. That's why I said that, to get him back into the
I'm
conversation.
listening tonight because I just don't know what to say. I just have a personal problem.
Okay, sorry.
I just have a personal problem ruining somebody's career with something that's not career ruining worthy.
I agree, dude. I 100% agree.
And it's frustrating because there's nothing that we can do.
Yeah,
it's just that's why I have that hope that the way they changed the man on James Gunn, they'll do the same on her because it's not worth her career. And I don't know how long this is going to follow her. So that really just kind of sickens me because I'm going to kind of play devil's advocate here. I've learned in my 50 years on this planet that just because you can say something and do something don't necessarily mean you have to do it. So I just kind of wish, and my dad told me this, especially when I got married, son, you got to pick your battles.
That's true.
Just take a step back. You were the one that said that sometimes people have to be a little more conscious about what they say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Regarding
I'm saying if you're in the entertainment business and that big a spotlight on you, for the regular Joe Schmoes like us, not so much.
So, just out of curiosity, my view is, we were the South Park generation. I mean, the kind of humor, they made fun of everybody. It did not matter how off color, what race, what religion, they ripped on everything. And I'm just shocked that where we are now, where, I mean, something where, like Gina said, I honestly think that she was dead on and there was nothing offensive about it. It was
I agree with you 1,000%, sir. But I'm going to bring this to your see if you agree with me on this statement I'm going to make.
Yeah.
You remember about 15, 20 years ago, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, all those.
Man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All those great comedians.
When comedy was funny.
The comedy that we got back then, you cannot do that now. It used to be comedians had a free reign to pick on everybody. Everything go. Everything was off limits. There was no thing as such as off limits. Now, depending on your sex, your whether you're male or female, whether you're gay, les, whatever. If you go in there, you're a comedian, no matter how famous you are, and you say the wrong thing to the wrong crowd, you're gonna be ostracized. You're gonna be on the TV saying that you this, you that. So we live in now that the First Amendment is kind of a joke because if you say the wrong thing to the wrong people, you're gonna be in the same situation she in now.
So then what we need are more comedians and more people in the spirit of, say, Richard Pryor or Lenny Bruce or...
we got Chappelle.
Well,
yeah, we got Chappelle.
I think Comic Cat... I was going to say, Danny, I think the word you were looking for is rampant Puritanism. And that's exactly the problem, is because, this is no different really than if you go back to the 80s.
Well, I was going to say, if you can go back further, I mean, Lenny Bruce is the one who really kind of pioneered free speech and comedy. I mean, they talk about being canceled. They tried to cancel him. And he would get fined a lot because of the things that he would say. And he's really the one who kind of pioneered where we are at with free speech and comedy because of pushing those boundaries. And now we're having people pushing back. And the irony is back then it was the right who was pushing back. Right. And now it's the left who's pushing back.
Well,
Tipper Gore was on the left.
Yeah,
that's a separate thing. And I've covered that before. But back then, like I said, it was primarily coming from the right. You could say Tipper Gore was the start when it started coming from the left.
Yeah, Marcus...
Moral Authority was kind of Bruce's big enemy, wasn't it?
Marcus Trajan in your chat, I think he just hit the nail on the head right there. He said the religious right just morphed into the woke left, and
in a worse way.
It did.
I absolutely agree with that because I remember back in the day when I was a kid, that was the bad guys. Those were the champions of censorship. Yeah, you had people like Tipper Gore. You did have some people on the left that felt that way, but there was also There was also people that were, right-leaning Democrats back then. That was a thing. It's not like that anywhere. There's no nuance in politics. They're all been bought and paid for a long time now, so it never really mattered. But as far as right now, from back when I was a kid, the bad guys used to be the Christian conservatives, in my opinion, from my perspective and who I was at that time.
Well, it was
now it is the radical
who
life
pushing the Puritanism back then.
Right, exactly. And so the tactics have changed so much because at least when you were dealing with them, there was a basic sanctity of everyone's right to have to be themselves, and now there isn't. Now it's just the far left is a complete echo chamber, so there's no rules.
If anybody out there just really quickly is a fan of history and culture, I urge you at some point to. If you want just a cool watch, pull up the old PMRC, like the censorship hearings on Capitol Hill, and
interesting.
Watch
the VH1 movie.
Yeah, watch Frank Zappa's testimony and even Dee Snider's is really.
Dee Snider had great testimony.
I urge you to watch that if you just want a good watch. If you want to see some of the stuff from back in the day when we were dealing with censorship back then, that will tell you a lot. So
I think it was back then, and this is kind of the thing, it was in the 90s. It was like through the 80s, it was all the television preachers and the Swaggart and Pat Robertson that were like the real bane of it. And then as we approached the 90s, it was still the religious right that was making all the noise, but it was Democrats like Al Gore, Tipper Gore, and Hillary Clinton.
Oh, Tipper.
Who really made the policy happen and passed the laws that set this shit up.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's
that's a good point, Isha.
Here's the weirdest thing. My politics has made it so I've been on the side against censorship. It's because I'm a libertarian. The censorship stuff bothers me, so I ended up on both sides of those arguments. And I should say I've been on the same side against both parties in these arguments, and it drives me crazy. We have to be allowed to make fun of each other. We have to be allowed to acknowledge every bit of the differences in our culture. And you know what? It's what brings us together. It's a form of
it is actually humor. Specifically jokes is a way of breaking the ice.
Yeah.
It is a way of diffusing cultural differences. This is coming from my, very expensive anthropology degree I don't use. So
I would go even further to say, I know that I offend people to quite a degree that I will rip on any religion, however sacred, or any group, however sacred. I have no problem with it. And yes, that's gotten me banned in trouble a few times. But my feeling is that really nobody can be untouchable. No one can be above lampooning. But more importantly, we need to be able to poke authority figures to show that no one is impenetrable or invincible.
Yeah, that and we need to be able to take the piss out of bad ideas too.
Right.
Coming from both sides of the aisle. That's the thing that I always say many times is that we need both the left and the right, because the reason why is because both have really good ideas and really bad ideas, and they really kind of balance each other out.
When we weren't supposed to talk about Islam, I made some really fucking offensive videos about Islam. It did get me into a lot of trouble, but it needed to be done.
Yeah. All right, let me get these super chats real quick, and I got that comment back from Marania. Jay-Z Denton for 149 American pesos sends a very fellow unicorn. And Marania says she said that Jewish people don't have a choice to be Jewish. They do have the choice to be Nazis and so on. Wow, classy.
I got a question.
Hang on. Go ahead, Danny.
If we can look and see that times are changing as a people, as a panel right here, we can see that times have changed significantly and may not be necessarily for the better. Are we doing ourselves a disservice not to properly arm ourselves and change and modify our thinking, actions, whatever you want to modify to survive at that time, or should we still try to go against the grain?
Wow, I think what it comes down to is the change good or not, and that's the big thing. A lot of people think is that all progress is good, but what happens when progress is actually not good?
Well,
I think the same thing with technology. It's like what happens when technology is not good. Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing, Danny. Where does that stop? Does it stop at countries' borders? Because these ideologies, this total garbage pile that we're dealing with right now, is being called out by countries internationally. Most recently, the French.
Yeah, the French. Yeah,
that they're fighting against this infection that we're dealing with here in this country, culturally and on an education level. So Macron and all of the institutions in France are rejecting this religion that's taking over, universities.
Well, they're rejecting critical theory, which is good.
Which they invented, actually.
Yeah, which is ultimately the irony, right?
Well, it's a problem. So, but if we allow this wave to roll over us, does that wave continues to grow? If you want a comparison to the 1940s, you're looking at it. Yeah. So, do you want to join that movement? Because that's essentially what would you do if you adopt their ideology.
Some of the best fairness, it looks more like the Cultural Revolution of China, which, frankly, I think is more frightening.
Well, exactly. Considering that we're playing right into China's hands, and anybody, in my opinion, if you're on the side of empowering China, you are not serving your country if you live in this country. And right now, we're looking at governmental organizations that are putting themselves aligned with the CCP. And
the other thing too, what it comes down to is, I think authoritarianism. Whether it be cultural authoritarianism or political authoritarianism, do we go along with it, or do we say our piece and stand against it? I mean, obviously there's risks in doing either one.
One of the biggest problems that right now is just dealing with low information people who don't think beyond the scope of what their social medias tell them and what the medias tell them and what their friends tell them. They don't think about history. They don't research these things to understand what these terminologies mean, or what's happening within the fabric of our culture, what the changes that are attempting to be made. So you just have a lot of drones. And a lot of them, like I said, have that victimhood mentality. They want to live in that hive mind. And so they're just regurgitating without any knowledge of really what's going on. And that's why you have people like Culture to point out these things to us. Go ahead, Culture.
No, it's just you're 100% right. I mean, we have parents. We're constantly there.
Hang on, what are you laughing at, Daddy?
Me, probably.
I laughed at what Stephen Walton said. It was funny how you kind of segue into culture. But I want to ask another hard question. Well, I think it's a hard question. Okay. Comic said earlier on a tweet today that because of what happened with Gina Carano, he no longer wanted to support Disney, which is his right. Have no problem with it. Based on what I'm hearing the past 2 weeks I've been with y'all, it seems like y'all are very unhappy, or some of y'all are very unhappy with what's going on in the United States. So you want to move to another country or
no change our country?
It was funny because I actually had a better response after I posted. I think when it comes down to it's I get where you're coming from, but with the election, we have the ability as American citizens to vote out the individuals that we don't like.
Disney's not a sovereign nation.
Yeah, whether they be the president of the United States or somebody running for Congress. And the same thing goes for companies when they do things that we don't like. We had the ability to vote with their dollar. And that's simply what I'm doing. I'm choosing to vote for another, corporate candidate, so to speak.
Well, also,
I don't think we can.
The United States with rights that have been granted to us and guaranteed to us by the Constitution, where we're not Disney employees.
No.
Yeah.
No. And that's
hang on. Go ahead, Danny.
You said we had a right to vote people out. That's easier said than done because.
Well, it is. I'm oversimplifying.
Yeah. Okay. I want to say, me and wife have been married 25 years. She's never voted, and it pisses me off. I'm like, what the hell? If you don't like what you see and you don't like what you're hearing, then why don't you vote? But she feels, and several of my other friends, like it's not going to do any good, and that's frustrating to me. Then here I've been voting for the past 30 years plus, a little bit longer than that, and I still don't understand the electoral college thing. It blows my mind.
You know?
I'm like, if this person physically has more votes than the other person, then still can win because the electoral college, like it switches from state to state. I just think it's a lot. That's where I think.
Okay, I'll explain it to you very, very, very easily. The electoral college as follows, okay? Let's say you live in a neighborhood with 5 houses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is, well, we've got a block policy on what is allowed on the front yard. Mm-hmm. And you've got 20 people living in one house and one person living in every other house. Mm-hmm. So the 20 people in the one house get to decide for everyone else? No, every house gets one vote.
Yeah, and part of the issue is that in a way it kind of prevents mob rule, because if we were to do away with the electoral college, the 2 states that would be electing the president would be New York and California. And the idea at that point, by getting rid of the electoral college, you're effectively disenfranchising the rest of the country.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the idea behind it. It's supposed to be a checks and balances thing, and it's the reason why a president, which has happened several times, can lose the popular vote, but will be elected because of the electoral college. I mean, the idea to me, and this should be frightening to anybody, 2 states being able to dictate who is elected president is not a good thing, because I've mentioned this to my wife before, and who is also a Democrat. And she's like, I don't see the problem. I'm a Democrat. My candidate gets elected. Well, what happens if things change culturally there, and suddenly those states become Republican, and suddenly those 2 states are perpetuating electing Republicans every 4 years. So that's the reason why it exists.
California is the problem with having a state that has been run by the same party for 40 years.
Yeah,
with very limited exception. So I mean, and you look at the failed policies that they try to explain away. There was a whole article written in the New York Times today that was complete pablum, trying to explain away that it's actually, a conservatism that's ruining the state. I'm like,
well, that's the funny thing is that when you have and this goes for red states too, right? When there's no competition for votes, you can basically just not, you don't have to try. When people just hit the button because they vote for one party over the other, and it tends to dominate. There's no competition for ideas or incentive to make this state or country better.
Yeah, and you no longer have the best idea in the room winning the day, and that's when you have that, when you have complete mob rule, which is what a pure democracy would be. Again, you would end up with the coastal states running everything else in the country. So they could create policies and mechanisms that would essentially make everybody else in the middle essentially slaves to serve their needs.
Yeah. Well, and what it comes down to is you would have a group making policies for the rest of the country that would disenfranchise those states and those people that live in those states, and you would legit get a boogaloo at that point.
Yeah, because right now there are 28, 29 states that are diametrically opposed to the current political structure as far as the way their states are governed. And so so you have more states that are against what's happening than you do voters. So it is what it is.
And it's a shame your wife doesn't vote, man, because voting is very important. And one of the things that we need to do, which is funny because they always talk about how we need to make it easier for people to vote, which I agree with. But we should definitely make it a federal holiday on November 4th so everybody can go out and vote. I don't like the fact that there's so much voter apathy out there. But at the same time, I can understand why, because sometimes two parties don't exactly fit the majority of the country. It's like, I'm a libertarian. I tend to stick towards libertarians when I vote, but sometimes I feel I have to vote one way or another. And, I do vote for the occasional Democrat as well as Republican, depending on, the individual. And there's a lot of problems with the way we elect people in this country, specifically the president. We have what is called the first past the post system, which basically the first one who reaches a certain number is elected. And that's a lot of issues. It makes it very difficult for people, other parties to run. I think I'm trying to remember what it's actually called, but if you have the ability to go and rank, this is my number 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have the ability to. There might actually be something better than that. I can't remember what it's called. But the idea is that if your number 1 candidate doesn't win, then your vote transfers to your number 2, and so on and so on. So,
I mean, a lot of issue is the funding as well. There should be just a cap.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And not anonymous when it comes to major corporations.
Agreed.
Well, I know this is something that Uche was mentioning on the stream earlier today on Midnight's Edge, with the whole thing with corporations being called people and having the same rights as people, which corporations should certainly have certain protections, but they should not have the same rights as people.
They don't, and they shouldn't. And they're a different type of entity. They're taxed as an individual, but they are not. It's and again, I had to tune out because sometimes he says things that just it's nobody challenges on some of the stuff that he says that is completely inaccurate. So I just
who is this?
Uche.
Oh, okay.
No, Uche. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's stuff that, just like anybody, right? There's stuff that he's right on. There's stuff that he's wrong on.
Sure. Yeah, I can agree on some of the stuff that he says. Absolutely. But sometimes he's so far out. It's just like.
I had to tune out Uche. Uche's my boy. I had his phone number. I was supposed to do a documentary with him, and I had to tune it out.
Yeah.
I like Uche.
Yeah.
Uche is a good dude.
Yeah, he is. No, please don't get me wrong. It's just today was not the day for it. So.
Yeah.
Right. And Mr. Tickle Truck is saying alternative vote is the ranking method. Okay. But yeah, I mean that's the thing. I hate the two-party system. I really do, because, like I said, that two parties don't exactly reflect this country. We have so many different viewpoints. That's the thing that sucks about it.
And the problem is, and this goes back to, again, discussing stuff about the Great Reset. The problem is both parties have been infiltrated to such a degree by globalist interests that they completely left the people behind, and most of what happens is self-serving for the politician, not the people, and there's a serious disconnect, and it's come from that infiltration of globalist interest into the parties, and part of that is the way the parties are run themselves, because they're run like corporations. So there's a whole lot wrong. I agree with you, Comics.
Well, and I also understand the voter apathy thing too, because I mean, for the most part, and granted, I am an apathetic voter, but I still vote. Well, there's times where I'm like, I can't tell the difference between the R's and the D's sometimes, because they're both kind of bought and paid for by large companies. And that's the thing, is that the issue is that our politicians are supposed to be representing us, not the interest of companies, and that's kind of where things have gone off the rails.
There's been way too many shenanigans with lobbyists and things of that nature, and big donations by companies to campaigns, and it's just it's led to rampant corruption, and that's why you never see, if any of you out there, folks, if you've wondered why there has never been, actual steps to take a vote on term limits. Well, that's why. A lot of it is, politicians are making a lot of money doing what they do, and they won't deny themselves, but they will gladly allow us to, live in squalor and poverty, allow people to starve in the streets because, hey, doesn't affect them. They're making money.
Talk. Be careful.
But
are we still monetized?
Yeah. I'm just keeping it real, man. That's where it's at. And yeah, one of the things that I think a lot of people should demand is that there are term limits put in place, because the system of quote unquote checks and balances certainly isn't working like it should, and it hasn't been for quite a while.
Yeah, well, and that's mainly because we just keep eroding it, and a lot of it has to do with executive orders that has gotten out of control for a number of years now. This is nothing new.
Yeah, it's been out of control,
they've been expanding their power forever since the Patriot Act, FISA courts, all that. Come on, they're surveilling the population. It's just these people have been bought and paid for a long time ago.
Which, by the way,
masters.
A lot of happened under the Obama administration, but not like I'm keeping score.
Well,
I don't even care who it is.
All that started under
Bush.
You're killing
a lot of it did start under Bush.
It started under Bush, and Obama just kept it going.
Yes.
Yeah.
They all hate us.
Yeah.
So
it's not about left or right at this point. I mean, considering recent events, I don't want to get too far into it, but what has the right really done to counteract?
They don't. They basically have allowed all this stuff to roll right over them.
Yeah, they're being lapdogs.
They go and they come out and say, they talk tough, and that's why I lost a lot of respect for Ted Cruz, because he said that he was going to hold big tech accountable. And
he hasn't. Hey, Vigilante, I know you have to go, man. So go ahead and plug your channel real quick.
Yeah, Ted Cruz wants to be us, so he's not going to do anything. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I got, unfortunately, real life to do. I need to sleep and I need to wake up for tomorrow. But I thank you guys for having me on. My name is Vigilante Winston. I've been on the past few weeks. If you haven't subbed, please do. There are about 90 of you guys in the chat. So if each and every one of you subbed, I would be at 300 subs right now. So please sub. I talk about pop culture, and I'm trying to fade away from politics, believe it or not. But it keeps drawing me back in. But I talk about pop culture and politics, unfortunately, and just random stuff too. I'm starting to do just random videos each Sunday.
Play dodgeball with blind people.
Man, I love Stevie. He's the greatest living musician. I also do music that I'm starting to put out sparingly on my channel as well. I did a video. I'm not a Tom Brady fan, but I set one of my beats to Tom Brady's career. So you can check that out on my channel. I stream on Thursdays and Saturdays, and then videos throughout. So please give my channel a sub. And again, thank you for having me, comics. Thank you to panel. You guys are all great, and this is the best channel on YouTube. I don't care what they say about you guys.
I just subbed to your channel, bro.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Good to see you, Vigilante.
All right.
Take care, Vigilante.
Peace.
You know what? Actually,
take care, V-Dub.
Take care. I'm going to call it a night too. So
I think we're probably winding down. I wasn't planning on going past 11 o'clock anyway, so I have some stuff I need to record for Unsafe Space pretty soon. So, but yeah, we'll go a little longer. If you got to bounce, go ahead, Ishii. Let me go ahead and pull you up real quick.
All right. Well, again, Jay Sherofini, author and Alien in a Human Suit. You can find my books on Amazon.com, Case File Arkham 1 and 2. Lovecraftian noir set in the 1940s, where if you like stories where men are men, women are gorgeous, and hellbeasts from the abyss do not come with a trigger warning, you got to check out that graphic novel series. Or alternately, you can get into World War Kaiju, giant kaiju, the Cold War. Need I say more?
Nice.
Sounds great.
All
yeah,
right.
That's awesome.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Take care, Ishii.
Bye.
All right, let me.
And then there were 5.
And then there were 5.
Yeah.
You guys, something you want to say real quick, or if not, I'll get the super chats.
No, roll in the super chats, man.
All right, Toxic Man Flu for $2. Disney exploiting young minds since 1923.
Hail Tox.
All right, let's see if it doesn't jump on me again, and hopefully I won't lose stuff like I did last time. And I know I have more than that. Shoot. Okay, I lost it. Sorry, guys. I need to keep up with the super chats.
I got a hypothetical for culture.
Go for it.
Tomorrow he wakes up and he is Culture Casino Iger. He is the new COO or whatever the hell it is. Bob Iger's position. What would you do in the first 90 days of Disney? Calling the shots.
Wow, are you sure you want to ask this question? We don't have this kind of time, but all right. First and foremost, I remove the key that doesn't belong there. The inclusivity key, which essentially is saying that they were never inclusive in the first place, which is a bunch of hokum.
So you get rid of the Gina Davis Institute and their influence.
Yeah. I automatically call for all projects to be produced to be reviewed. I immediately halt the altering of any attraction based on any preconceived notion by others in the theme parks that they are in some form or some way racist. I go back to preserving the history, good or bad, of what the company created from the very beginning. I restructure the way I put media properties together and have the jobs awarded to people of merit who actually deserve to have them. I no longer set any forms of mean testing for race or gender or anything when it comes to projects. And I allow for the way things had been progressing for a very long time in my company and in the country to equalize the playing field through a market economy approach, which you can actually do in media fairly easily. I mean, there's a lot of things that I would do. I would change the way that Marvel is presented to the world. And I would immediately stop considering the entertainment that I produce a platform and go back to it actually being a form of escapism. I would not encourage tattletale. I mean, there's a whole lot of things. There's a lot going on there, Danny. But in the first 90 days, I mean, stop calling the people who support me. 60% of them names. I mean, that's kind of the heart of it all. I mean, my customers are valuable to me. They've helped to create the brand that they enjoy. They come off as, currently the company comes off as being no longer family friendly. Yeah, and that's an uncomfortable place for me. You have to consider my family ties in Disney have existed since well before I was born. It goes back into my mother's childhood. So it'd be pretty and it would suck to replace Uncle Bob, although Uncle Bob's right now just more about the creative end of the business. But I would gladly take that job. I would not do what Cheapskate's doing. And I would actually go above and beyond what I was able to do as far as the theme park openings would go. And I would be calling Newsom on the carpet. I mean, 90 days, that's plenty of time for me to go bananas and to irritate and make every other company like myself, that company, have to respond in kind or suffer the consequences. Anyway, I could go on forever as Stephen is indicating to me to get off the stage. So I
didn't say anything.
Actually, I'm kind of curious. What is your answer, Danny? What would you do?
I would definitely. One thing I think leaders do. I think Disney has it done. He has surrounded himself with good people. He's starting to do it now, in my opinion, with Dave Filoni and Bob Iger. I mean, not Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. I think that in order for you to be a successful leader, that you have to, one, like I said, surround yourself with good people. Then you have to listen because 10, 15, 20 years ago, we don't have the means of instantly getting what the people want to say. So I would put out feelers on social media. I would have press conferences to try to get feedback and that kind of stuff. I would definitely get rid of Kathleen Kennedy. I mean, I just don't think that she is a good fit for the company because I would make sure whoever I got in powers of position are familiar with the material that we are trying to produce. My people would not go on a TV, on social media and say, we don't have source material for Star Wars. That was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard come out of her mouth. So I would make sure the people that I put in the positions of power would want to be there, know what the material is, and got a passion for it. I don't know about. I think I heard Culture said that he would preserve certain things. If I would go back and take stock because I know some movies people are saying are offensive. I don't know because I don't watch that stuff. But if I would go back and determine that they were offensive, I don't know if I would necessarily play them or have them available, or would I go back and put them in a different category where people can access them? I mean, I don't know. I would just try to do something now because at the end of the day, I don't want to offend anybody. I know there are going to be some things that will offend, but I would try to do everything humanly possible not to offend and be sensitive to people that of color, of race, of whatever particular group there is, to make sure I don't offend everybody. So that would be my main thing.
Well, the one thing, hang on, let me inject something real quick. I really like and I don't agree with Whoopi Goldberg on a lot of things, but the one thing that she said, I think it was pertaining to Looney Tunes, is that we should preserve these things. Or was it Song of the South that she was talking about?
Specifically, yep.
Yeah. And basically have the disclaimer up front talking about it, but she basically says this stuff should not be altered and it shouldn't be changed and it should be out there so we don't make the mistake of repeating the past.
Yeah.
I would never destroy it. I would never destroy it. I would say I would put it on some, because racism to me is taught. You ain't born racist. You're taught.
No, it absolutely is. Yeah.
People see things and that starts it off. That starts domino effect. So I would just maybe have it available for people of a certain age that can understand. Okay, this is funny, but in real life we don't do this. And so and right now we live in a society. We live in a society in a world where parents don't do that. They just go ahead and put their kids in front of the TV or in front of the iPad and don't try to teach them and say, hey, this is just make believe.
Well, that's
in
exactly
in the real world. We don't do this.
Yeah. But that's some of the problem with society, and I think Stephen was about to say it. You're abdicating as a parent your responsibility to the television. That's bad parenting. That's not on the media company. But you're 100% right, Danny. I agree with you. Everything you said is really accurate. Also, things that I would definitely do. It's the remedy. The remedy is to get back to making good material. And again, you call every single project that's going to be in production or going into production under review. And you say, is this valuable? And you're not wrong, but here's the problem, Danny. Who decides what's offensive? Because in a period of time, one of its most successful periods of time, in fact, when it was making its comebacks, the Disney company controlled a couple of other motion picture studios to release adult-oriented content, Hollywood Pictures and Touchstone. And one of those released an amazing and iconic film called Pretty Woman. It's a rom-com, but it has questionable thoughts in it because this woman's a prostitute. This is a rich guy. He picks her up for one purpose and ends up in another situation. Is that a story that would be okay to tell? Because it could be very offensive to someone. See, that's the problem with trying to gauge the merits of something about whether it's offensive or not. Some people will have religious objections to some things that you're trying to put out there. Is showing a woman's breast a bad thing? What about her hindquarters? Because they edited the film Splash because Daryl Hannah's ass, the top part of her ass gets shown when she's running on the beach.
Yeah. That's
Wow, apparently Larry Flint died yesterday.
He did. It was terrible.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and I was really funny on the stream last night when I don't even remember what I said. Well, okay, I was funny to me, but anyway, so Danny, those are the questions that you have to pose. What's offensive to who? Because I mean, cartoons can be offensive to people. You've watched Bugs Bunny, smashing Elmer Fudd in the head with a hammer. Is that funny anymore, or is that offensive? Because it espouses violence. I mean, there's problems.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you to a certain extent. But Disney is to me a niche market. Their main target is kids. So if I'm the boss or the CEO, whatever you want to call it, I know what's right and wrong. And if in my profession, they says the only way to make changes is you got to get promoted, make them yourself. So if I'm promoted to CEO, I already know that, look, I can't show this right here. I can't do this. I can't do that. And then what Disney is really surprised me that they're doing a rated R division, what I'm being told now. Yeah. Because they know. Yeah, under the standard thing. What's the Deadpool? I think that is going to be rated R. Yep. So what they're doing is that, okay, more money. So at the end of the day, if you're the COO or CEO, whatever it is, there's going to be a point where you can say, look, I know this may make $1 billion, but morally this ain't right. This ain't the target area we're doing. We need to cut this down. We need to do this. We need to do that. So that is what they do. But it's strong enough to do it? I don't think so.
Pretty easy. Yeah, because pretty easy to draw the line for me, Danny. I won't make porn. I mean, I'm not a flesh cover.
Well, the other thing too is that art is supposed to push boundaries. It's supposed to push the button. It's supposed to make us uncomfortable at times. And I think we've kind of lost that in our society. It's the same thing with comedy too. We talked about this previously. The idea is to push that boundary, to push, to cross the line, to skirt the line, maybe, cross over a little bit, but come back. The idea is it's to.
I think it's delivery, comics, and whether you not got malicious intent.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. It's intent is everything. And that's one of the big things that is constantly getting thrown out is the intent behind things. And you were absolutely correct because, it matters 100%.
I mean, going back to what Danny was saying earlier about racism being learned, it's actually absolutely a learned behavior. It's a programming that's put into you. And as far as older material, maybe restricting it to a certain age group, that could be correct. That could be a good answer to like a critically thinking age of human development, like your early teens, when you should be getting taught those things. And disclaimers put out there. Look, these jokes are reflective of the times, but we cannot erase that history or we are doomed to repeat it. And that's what we're seeing right now in a lot of different aspects of how information is presented and disseminated on the internet between social medias and social platforms. So, I just wanted to make that point to Danny. I believe that.
Yeah.
We just talking about this at my job, and could you imagine Archie Bunker on TV now? Or
what happened? It'd be great. It'd be great. Yes, but
I thought it was awesome back then. But
I did too, man. I loved that show as a kid.
They would destroy that station. Whoever station played it would be destroyed.
Yes, except that Sanford and Son, All in the Family, Married with Children, some of the best
good times.
Good times. Love good
Oh my
times.
God, yeah. Oh yeah. But there was so much out there. This is why I love having Danny on. Danny should be here all the time. This is freaking great.
TM Martin in this chat, real quick. I'm sorry. Says studies show children start noticing
I'm
racial
old.
differences in infancy. Well, of course they're going to recognize differences in humanity. We're all different, and we should celebrate those differences. And every subtle difference between people who are supposedly within the same group don't feel the same way. People that live in the same house don't feel the same way. But it's in far as being told superiority complexes or anything like that as to what stigmas are applied to a race within a social construct. Those things are developed or nurtured by people teaching the child that these are reality. And as far as our basic differences, those are just going to be recognitions of difference.
And we've been doing a very effective job of it up until recently of bringing everybody together. And while there are still some knuckleheads out there that still teach their kids hate, for the most part, I mean, I just didn't grow up in that world. I grew up in a very, I hate this term, inclusive world. Everybody was my friend.
That's the thing that sucks about it is the idea of diversity inclusion has been weaponized, and that's kind of my biggest issue with it these days. It's like the thing when it comes to creating entertainment, we really should be trying to gear for the broadest audience as possible. We should make it as inclusive and diverse as possible to get the largest amount of people to get eyes on it. But at the end of the day, it needs to be entertaining and a good story. And that's the thing I feel like that we've missed. And that's one of the things that we talk about, The Expanse, which up till recently has been great, apparently. But that is such a diverse show. And that's the thing I love about it is it shows the differences in humanity and culture and all these different things. And the issues that they face in the future is not about race, but actually about, cultural differences. It's where you are. You're an inner, you're a belter, you're from Mars. And so it's an interesting way of being able to talk about the differences and issues within humans, but through, cultural differences.
But here's the thing. I mean, okay, so let's use this example because this is really bothering me. They're changing the name of Black Adam. DC's has a problem with Black Adam now.
Wait, they're doing what? Is it going to be? Is it going to be Adam of color?
They called him Shazadam now.
Shazadam?
Yep. Yeah.
Are you serious? Or y'all joking?
Yeah, no, I'm dead serious.
And I'm like,
we did a story on this.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, dude,
we got to see this. Is there an article?
There is. Don't make me go look for this thing.
Drew got it. He's the writer for Bounding. He's got this. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Culture.
A lot. No, dude, I just lose my mind at this stuff. It's super dumb. I mean, look, the immutables, the things that make us the physical part of us, mean nothing. And this is where Dr. King got it right. He's like, look, focus on the content of one person's character, right? I mean, I'm and not the color of their skin, not their immutables, not who they go to bed with at night, not, what sex they are. Focus on the content. Is this person a good person? Do they do good things in the world? Do they produce good works? Those are the things you focus on. Now, the man was pretty religious. I mean, come on. But the ideas were good. And it doesn't sound a lot different than, things we've heard from other charismatic and often religious leaders throughout time. The concept that humanity should essentially get along. I mean, we heard a guy that got hit in the head with a brick say, can't we all just get along? I mean, it seems pretty simple, pretty easy to do.
So real quick, not to interrupt you, Culture.
Oh, no, I'm done.
All right, they went. CBR says the name change actually isn't happening now. So apparently DC walked it back because everybody ratioed the shit out of it.
And this is kind of the reason why we need to push back on stuff too. Is when they introduce stupid ideas, we need to yell at them for doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank God.
Go ahead, Danny.
I don't want to stir the pot. I gotta make sure that I'm not misunderstanding this. Okay, for the first time I was on the show last week, and I think we got into the Second Amendment, that kind of stuff, and I went off the show and I stayed on a few minutes in the chat, and this is question is really for Supreme Heretic.
Okay.
He said that he vehemently disagreed with most of the stuff what I said, but that we were able to talk in a civilized manner. And even though we disagree, we still were able to talk civilized, which I totally 1,000%. So am I missing it when it seems like people seem to gravitate more towards Trump than Obama? Because to me, Obama was intelligent, poised, presidential, spoke very well, and words that I use to describe Trump is controversial, divisive, and abrasive. So I don't. Is it because Obama was black that people seem to not like it, or am I reading that wrong?
No, it had nothing to do with race.
I think it's all about policies.
It was very much the appeal of the man of Obama. I'm speaking of as a speaker that people enjoyed about him was the fact that he did whether you agreed or disagreed was a good articulator.
Well, what the big differences between like Obama and Trump is he's a very good statesman. Obama is a very good statesman and he's well spoken.
Yeah,
Trump is not well spoken.
No. So you're comparing apples and oranges there, Danny. With Trump, the guy means well. You can understand what he's trying to say, but you really have to do a lot of reading in because he doesn't know how to articulate it in the same way as somebody like a Barack Obama did.
Yeah.
So that was the problem. That's why a lot of time people got their wires crossed and didn't really get the message. The message came through obviously when it came time for when policies hit when they came into law, but right. And that's why he had so much support was on the policy level, as comics alluded to. Trump was spot on it, but he also had the problem that really plagued him because the one issue that I always had with President Trump, and I voted for the guy, was the fact that sometimes he did not know when to shut up. Sometimes he did not know when to take the high road. Sometimes he didn't know when to keep his finger off the tweet button, and that really got on my nerves sometimes about him. But as far as policies, I was very happy, and very satisfied with the job he did on that level, and that's why I personally cast my vote for the guy because I was I had concerns at the time about the economy and things of that nature, and he shined on that. He definitely put policies in place that I was happy about.
His communication skills was one of his weakest points. If he had been as
the
good
other
an
thing
orator.
too, for me that I can't stand about Trump is that he legit turned the presidency into the WWF or WWE. He plays the great heel, and the fact that politics have just kind of pretty much, and this isn't, again, this is not Trump's fault. This has been going on for years. He's more of a symptom than the actual cause of the problem. But I don't like the fact that the presidency has been turned into the WWE at this point.
Well, I understand that, but one of okay, and I understand people having a problem.
One of my
with
major
that.
criticisms of Trump.
But if he had been as good an orator as Obama and been able to articulate exactly what he was trying to do, we're talking about a person who was not a part of the system. This was a random. Yeah. This was a random card that just fell out of the deck and happened to land into politics. May have been something that we needed at that time was a dose of when you talk about the way he speaks, it was very working class, although he is definitely an elitist in his own right. But it was layman's terms. It was speaking to union workers. Like that's how he talked and communicated. It wasn't politics. Or Obama, every person before him was.
And he grew despite all of these things that we're criticizing about.
Right.
He grew the Republican Party's ranks when it comes to minorities, blacks, Latinos, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So people were walking away from this idea of abandoning the family because right now, I mean, some of the policies, again, this comes down to policy for me with Obama. they were anti-family. They're anti-human in some cases, and terribly offensive. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, Stephen, but everything that I had a problem with Obama was 100% his policies. He was one of the you can only name 3 or 4 achievements that he achieved in his entire 8 years of his presidency, and one of them was a very failed healthcare plan. Yeah. That even after being walked back by Biden is still a giant failure, because the 43 million people that supposedly were claimed to be without health insurance are still largely without health insurance. And there was a penalty built in if you do not put yourself in the marketplace for healthcare. Yeah. That's ridiculous. I mean, you're taking somebody who doesn't want to be on a poor healthcare plan, or it doesn't benefit them. You're now taxing them because they don't want to be a part of the bad healthcare plan. And it was a lie to say that people weren't getting healthcare, because you could go into any emergency room in the country without any money and still get treated for anything serious that was going on in your life. So I found it incredibly offensive and inaccurate the way all the policies were presented.
And one of the things that
he didn't pay his dues politically. He spent a very limited amount of time in public life before he was elevated to the highest position in the land. And I think he could have been a lot more effective. Now, see, this is where I'm saying positive things about him. He could have been a lot more effective with a little more experience and, working his way through the ranks. But again, the same thing that I'm saying is also a negative for Trump. He had no political background. He ran for president. He was an outsider, like Stephen was saying, and there were some good things he brought to the table. Simultaneously, because of that lack of experience, he wasn't nearly as effective, and he did play the great, WWE heel of all time, which I know, Danny, you understand. So,
if he had been able to keep that more crass and egotistical side of himself in the offices, and been able to speak and articulate what he was doing, what he was saying better, that was a case of a person with the right level of ego within themselves to fight a system, an established system of crooks that just get themselves elected constantly and pass whatever laws and measures they want to, and are able to control whatever narrative they want within our media. So, I mean, he was up against a lot. And so I'm just noting that the deficiencies in his ability to communicate really were the greatest weaknesses, because I believe that his defiance was a strength in his policies toward the country.
If you ever watch some of Larry Elder's videos on President Trump and things he did, I was very also satisfied with the things that he did for minorities. And I know that people on the surface level, a lot of times minority folks think that he didn't do enough. But there was a thing, especially, for Black communities, like he signed that act that made sure that the historic Black colleges were funded, and he also made sure that in inner city communities that infrastructure was ramped up, that they had resources for to educate young men and women about entrepreneurship and jobs. And,
imagine what could have been done if he wasn't fighting the entire system
and things of that nature. Yeah, and and he had pretty darn good policies when it came to that. So much so that I know the last few months when they were when they were having the election, and I know when Ice Cube met with them about the contract for Black America, well, that's why that they had come to an agreement, because he was open to the stuff that they wanted in that agreement, that Ice Cube was talking about with that agreement, and it was great. And I think he gets unfairly a bad rap that somehow he was racist in all of this, because it never did he show that he was racist, other than it was just toted around and said by people, and it was said by people on the left to misrepresent the guy.
Word. Wes Moody is right. I never thought I'd see NAFTA get renegotiated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. For me, this is a criticism of both parties, is that we've been basically in wars for like the last 20 years, which is obviously not great. And that is something I've criticized Bush for pretty heavily, and same thing with Obama. I honestly, I just saw him as another guy. He just has a D next to his name rather than an R or an L or whatever. It's like I understand the historical significance of it, but to me, he was just another guy that got elected.
Yeah, we need more. Jack Posobiec, I think, put it best, because we had him a couple weeks ago on the Bounding stream, and he said that we need to continue to have more populist energy, and that's what I think right now is needed in our political candidates, in our attitude as citizens in our own country.
I think we need a balance of things. Going extreme populism is not the answer either.
Not same extreme populism, but
same thing with extreme globalism. Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, I can see Condoleezza Rice as president of the United States. I could have seen Colin Powell as president of the United States. I mean, there's a certain amount of things to be said for the man's leadership. I can see. It can't be about race. I can see. This is the weird thing
for me. I want the best person for the job, right? Me too. I don't care what their skin color is or their gender. And I want the person that's going to lead this country into success.
And that's true. But like I said, I mean, I can also see Tulsi Gabbard in there, believe it or not. I like the idea of a strong foreign policy, that somebody who's not going to get run over and somebody who's not going to hand our country over. I don't like the idea that of late we've been seeing a lot of China's influence in certain situations. It doesn't favor our country. We are putting our arms around an enemy that has a stated plan to dominate the entire world. That makes no sense.
One of the biggest things that concerns me is the whole Eric Swalwell situation. I don't know if you're familiar with Eric Swalwell, Danny.
No, I'm not.
I'm not.
Okay. He is a California congressman who basically was involved with a Chinese spy. She basically, they call her honeypot. There's no actual proof of whether he slept with her or not, but there's definitely speculation around it. But the big thing is that he was involved with this individual. She helped him fundraise and campaign, helped get him into office, and this was a Chinese asset. And once the FBI found out, she fled the country. And he was in some pretty prominent committees around intelligence, which is very, very concerning. But they never removed him from those committees.
And we're in a weird place where he wasn't the only one, by the way. That investigation.
Yeah, there's other people who were compromised by the same asset. Yeah, it's legitimately scary. I mean, if you Google Eric Swalwell, you can read all about what was going on. So, I mean, those are the things that really concern me.
And look at the university system, right? One of the places where we're indoctrinating all these kids into there's 4,000.
Well, even if we just leave that off the table, I mean, just look at what's going on with politicians, and that stuff is legit scary.
Yeah, well,
and Axios has a very, very long article that talks about the Swalwell thing. And Axios is a pretty, I believe, left-wing outlet.
Did they also do the one about all the black money that came into? And I'm not saying that as a racial thing. All of the dark money probably is the right way to say that came into the Biden campaign. Because somebody that I didn't expect to was talking about that money that came in that supported that effort. There's a lot of those things, and those operations are done on a regular basis, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, and I see Beastman mentioned Feinstein. Apparently, she had a limo driver who was a Chinese spy.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. I just recently heard about it, so I haven't looked too deeply into it. So. Yeah, all concerning.
Yes, that is very concerning.
Yeah. It's also concerning that really quickly, since I know we're on politics, there was a rather eyebrow-raising story that came out about indeed one of Governor Cuomo's aides in New York came out and said that he did send 9,000 people to the nursing homes, and that was confirmed. All the while that hospital ship was sitting in the harbor, they treated less than 200 patients.
Wow.
And I hope that, that guy is an absolute 100% just poor excuse of a human being. I hope Cuomo goes down. He needs to be recalled.
Yeah. Politics is a mess. Regardless of Trump or Biden, it's been a mess for a number of years, in my opinion. And I think really we're just beginning to see how bad things are, which is rather unfortunate.
How many parties do you think it will take? How many political parties do you think it'll take to balance the equation? Because it's not two.
Man, that's a tough question, Culture. I have no idea. Man, it's a mess right now. I know that this duopoly that they have is not a good thing at the moment.
No, they're all bought and paid for by the same.
Because they
I feel that same way.
Yeah, they just don't. They've lost touch with the people. They're about themselves, and this sort of globalist establishment they built, where they've left behind the people, is going to come back to haunt them. Because I'm telling you what, if this goes on unchecked, we are headed for revolution. There is, when people become so disenfranchised, there's no outlet, their voices are not being heard. That is the last step. If we are plunging headlong towards that last step, unless somebody does something.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The thing I'm probably the most concerned about is we're heading for the Mike Pondsmith cyberpunk dystopian future is what I kind of feel like we're heading towards.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, we're already living in an oligarchy, so that I guess you're right. Comics.
The next step. Throw out my death now. That's ridiculous.
Well, just to give you kind of some background, if you haven't read any of the stuff by Mike Pondsmith, it's really good. But the idea is that corporations are more powerful than governments, and they're really the ones that are kind of calling the shots. And so they basically manipulate governments, control things in a weird sort of way, kind of like what we're seeing now with like Twitter and Facebook and big tech collusion.
I think I'm not doubting what any of you're saying because y'all read this material and seem to know it pretty well. But I think what you're saying is kind of like what people have said about the devil, that his greatest trick is to make you think that he doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So I think these people, what you're talking about, the calling the shots, their greatest thing is to make the mass majority think they don't exist, because I can tell you for myself, from one president to one president to one president, my lifestyle hasn't changed much one way or the other.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of people saying that, and that's when they're gonna be like, "Are you sure all this is going on?" Because under this president, I'm making more money. I know, I've heard it said several times under the Clinton administration. People were making money left and right, whatever, but didn't really saw what he did or didn't do. I see y'all just name out examples about Obama, what he did and didn't do, and Trump, what he did and didn't do. But if it doesn't really change the middle class or the upper middle class, the classes that I think we are in, then for the most part, I don't think anything's going to change, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I think you're right, Danny.
So we're going to have to be. So things are going to have to get very uncomfortable in order for what y'all proposing to happen, in my opinion. But as long as people,
I think it's going to.
Say again?
Well, I think you're definitely onto something, Danny, because the idea, as long as people are comfortable, then the world can continue on. As long as they have TV and food, people really don't care about what's going on. You could have, I guess, all your rights stripped away, and as long as people are, fat, dumb, and happy, it's not going to be a big deal.
in my profession, nothing happens until nobody want to get involved until the crime happens to them. Then they want us to do everything. But as long as the crime happened to them, I didn't see nothing. I didn't hear nothing. I don't want to get involved. That's the way of the world.
And Danny, we did a charity stream. Yeah, we did a charity stream last night that highlights your point exactly. 160 countries around the world still have slavery and human trafficking in all of its forms.
Yeah.
$1,000 raised to fight it.
Yeah. And that's all thanks to Drunk 3PO and, believe it or not, Gina Carano, because that's one of her charitable efforts.
Yep.
Yeah. And I have to say, man, Drunk is definitely a better man than me because he's very, very much so altruistic, where I am not, unfortunately.
He's a good man.
Yeah, he's a good man.
He's the best of us.
But yeah, I think you're right, man. It's like people don't want to get involved until things directly impact them, and that's unfortunate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
we see it in law enforcement all the time.
Yeah, Portland is an example of that. We had all those riots and everything for 90 some 120 so however many months it was, days, and until they walked up on what's her name's driveway and started to harass her, everything was fine because it didn't affect.
You talk about the governor, or are you talking about Ted Wheeler?
Yeah, no, the governor didn't bother until they rolled up on her driveway. So it's just we're in this weird place, man. And you're 100% right, Danny. You speak in truth as usual. So we're in a weird place. We all need to eventually decide that we're not going to be governed in these manners anymore, and we need to do that unilaterally as a community. But they don't want us together, which is why they're going out of their way to divide us in every single way possible. So. It is what it is.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, I think Supreme Hectic said earlier that he think it's leading towards a revolution. I just hope that don't happen. I
agree.
No, none of us want that to happen, Danny. It's but I'm just saying, when you're disenfranchised and you feel like your voice isn't being heard, and every avenue seems like it's been exhausted. I'm just painting that as the last ditch scenario that people think that they have left as a choice. And we're still a ways away from that. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Honestly, I think we're a lot further away from it than we actually think it is. I know that during the election, you had a lot of people calling for the Boogaloos. Like you people have no freaking clue. No. I've never seen the devastations of war, but I've known people who have, and I know I don't want it. I mean, I've talked to several people about when I saw Saving Private Ryan who were involved in war, and they said that it was probably one of the most accurate war scenes at the opening, and that was definitely a movie that kind of left me shell shocked walking out of because of that. And well, these people who call for it, they don't want it because it's a fantasy. It's LARPing at this point. What you're gonna get is way worse than you're expecting, and not want.
If you really want to understand the impact that things like that have, all you have to do is just have a conversation with someone from the greatest generation that fought in World War II.
We don't have to go that far, man. We can just look at Syria.
Yeah. Or
look at what happened with Syria over the last decade.
Yeah. That too. It just nobody wants that to happen, Danny. It's one of those things, and look, I think that we can affect the change culturally if we keep doing what we're doing. I mean, there's going to be some squabbles. There's going to be some, probably, at the street level, some violence yet. There's going to be some riots, things like that. But ultimately, culturally, I think that we can get past it and we can find a happy medium. But it's going to take work, and it's going to take what people like this community do, where they call out the nonsense, where they say, this doesn't add up. People have to ask the hard questions. People have to, go and actually do guerrilla journalism on the ground and to show people what reality really is, because there's a whole segment of people that live in a manufactured reality, really. And it's important to, kind of show those people that, there's a big difference in reality and living in simulated reality. And it's going to take a while, but we can get there as long as we keep doing what we're doing. And we have the voices, those in the chat and those on this panel, people that are creators or thinking about being creators. You can make a difference. And I think we can do this culturally without devolving to a revolution. But the only reason I mentioned that was because, it's just one of those things, very real possibility that happens in some countries. But we're probably pretty far from it, like Comic said. But I think we can find a solution culturally if we do it, if we continue to do what we're doing.
That's why it's important for all of us to have a voice and speak out. Yep. If you've got a voice and you want to make it louder, create a channel, get on social media, create any platform you want. There's a bunch of them out there. Don't have to be YouTube. But it's important now more than ever that we all speak our opinions, because our differences bring enlightenment to one another and understanding as to what we're all going through. And, hopefully we can affect change through our voice, our collective voice.
Yeah. And Danny, I know personally, I know that even though like some things we may not see eye to eye on politically, dude, I love and respect you, that you're a creator and that you that you have some really solid points and that you're willing to discuss things and take other viewpoints into account, same as I like to take your viewpoint into account, and that's important, because that's one of the things that's lost right now. People don't understand how to have these conversations in a civil manner. So
I agree.
Kudos to you, my friend.
Well, thank you. I definitely want to appreciate, say thanks to Comics Division, because my content is more on the lighter side of things. But sometimes it's refreshing to get into topics that aren't necessarily comfortable.
Right.
This is especially what you said today, because I'm very protective about the last president, just because of the obvious.
I get it. Yeah.
And there was a time when I used to get angry, but I listened to what you had to say today. And it's good to listen to the other side and good to see things that you don't necessarily see, because sometimes because of certain aspects, you can be blinded. So,
for sure.
So it's good. So it's good to see other perspectives, good to get information so you can process it for yourself. That's what a lot of the problems I see come in. People don't process things for themselves. They'll take what somebody who they think know what they're talking about and speak it as the gospel. And that's when they get themselves in trouble sometimes. Yep. So I like to get all points of view from different cultures, different races, different sex. It doesn't matter to me. And then I go in and make an intelligent, informed decision based on what I've heard and seen. So that's why I was really quiet tonight, because I was listening to y'all, trying to absorb. Some parts I felt way out of my depth. I was like, what the hell are they talking about?
Well, if it's something we're talking about which you don't get, just ask questions, man. We'll explain it.
Yeah.
Very good show. I'm a part.
Sorry, Danny, you're breaking up. What was that?
You got a little lag, man.
I say it's a very good show, and I'm very honored to be a part of it. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
We love having you here.
Man, Danny, you're a great dude, and you're welcome here anytime. One of the things too I want to point out that Wes said after you left was, he's like, "Wow, I never thought about it that way." And so that's the reason why it's good to have people with different opinions, is that we need to have these conversations, because there's certain things that we just don't see. And it's like the whole thing with not being in an echo chamber. I don't like being in an echo chamber. I like hearing different viewpoints and opinions on things. And it's the reason why, I had you on last week. It's the reason why I had you on tonight. Because we need to listen to each other and not scream at each other like it feels like we've been doing for like the last decade.
Well, no, and I think the problem is, again, there's too many people that watch mainstream media, and they think like the people like yelling and screaming at each other on those supposed talk shows are the way that it actually is, and it's not. Because when you get down to the reality level, people actually, can talk to each other just fine. But that's not shared as what's really going on, and it's a shame because mainstream media paints it in an entirely different light.
Well, the one thing that was a big eye opener for me is everyone. I mean, for years I've always heard, the mainstream media, the liberal media, this, that, and the other. The thing that really blew me away was for the first time actually catching the media lying about something. And it was during one of the BLM protests, and it involved that rig. I unfortunately I don't remember which city it took place. I could probably find the footage again, but earlier in that day I saw the footage where the truck was mobbed by a bunch of people, and the driver was pulled out and attacked. And then when the news reported on it, they said basically that they spun it as the truck was out of control, and then the protesters rushed in to see how the guy was doing, and they cut the footage before he got pulled out. And it was like, holy crap. Yeah. I mean, that if you saw the raw footage, what happens, but they legitimately lied. Yeah. And I was stunned by that.
Yeah, it is. It's a weird place, but having.
Sorry, what's that?
I said to do something to sensationalize it and get those ratings and stuff. And if that means they gotta fudge or indulge on something or add a little bit more to it than what it really is, they'll do it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but it's destructive though, Danny, because there's people that just take it at face value and believe it.
Well, the thing that kind of blew me away, it's like it's one thing to to hear about it or to talk about it. It's another thing to actually witness it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it absolutely crazy.
Come on, culture, you're missing it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Say your point.
Oh, there he is.
Look,
your turn.
I just want to say I love having different opinions, just like comics does, because it helps to inform mine. Because it gives me an opportunity. And one of the things they teach you in debate is that you need to understand the other side of the argument. You need to understand all their points. You need to be able to articulate their argument as well as your own in order to be effective. So it's good to learn. And at the same time, it can change your mind by listening to someone else. Because if they present you with rational thought and a well-reasoned argument, it can definitely update the thoughts that you have around whatever idea you're talking about. And that's important, which is why in a society, or even if we boil it down to a media company, right? It's why it's important to have diversity of thought. And you can't look at your customers as the enemy or as, merely a consumer. You have to look at them as an audience that appreciates the thing that you produce, and you have to make the best possible thing for everyone. And so it's the same thing with these arguments. We have to be able to find common ground. It's the most important thing.
Are you laughing right at Fat Steven Seagull's comment?
Fat Steven, right. Yes. Dodgeball. He's playing dodgeball.
I have to get caught up on super chats, so let me highlight this real quick. Fat Steven Seagal beat up Disney for 2 Canadian pesos. Supposedly Stevie Wonder can see and has been lying.
Vigilante Williamson.
He left. You can't beat him up when he's not here.
Yes, we can. He's playing dodgeball with blind people now. It's a damn shame.
We don't talk about people when they're not here. I said this last week. Respect our friends. We do. Dang it.
All right, let me get caught up here. So Toxic Man Flu loves Vigilante Williamson for $2. Holy shit, still monetized. LOL.
Yeah.
All right. Toxic Man Flu loves Vigilante Williamson for 10 American pesos. If my 75-year-old parents, when just getting off cancer treatment, can go vote for a city treasurer in 8 inches of snow, you can get your butt off your out to participate in a government by the people. Yeah, absolutely.
Were they walking uphill barefoot?
Probably.
Okay.
Both ways in the snow.
And the chat is
Both
going
ways.
to jump. Let's see.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Comics.
We got 94 people watching.
I know, man.
Hail
It's
the chat.
crazy. Still here.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Good. So now, the viewer activity earlier kind of blanked out, and I lost stuff. So good. I'm actually caught up now. Toxic Man Flu for $2. I wanted to show Steven. I want to know what Steven feels about coffee.
What the hell, Tox? Why you gotta bring that up? I enjoy drinking coffee. All right, that's it. That's it.
I have
no other narrative.
He
No matter what
enjoys
Culture
drinking coffee,
Casino or Tommy
okay.
the Guinea Pig Collective will tell you.
and not just stopping there.
So I'm working right now. This is amazing. I'm working right now on refining the latest commercial I produced for him. And there is this amazing company that we've worked on with packaging. They're just amazing. I cannot wait for you guys. You're actually going to be able to buy Walton's Best Brew. It's coming. It's coming. I'm working it up. I just need Steven to sign some paperwork and we will be good to go.
Is the logo going to be ass cheeks?
No, that's actually a good idea. I love that. How about asking with the sun in the middle? Wouldn't that be great? Walton's Best Blend,
Culture's
right
a
there
dick.
over the sphincter. Just have the sphincter like actually dead center in the bag. What do you think?
Propaganda.
Lies.
All right.
Hose.
Mr. Ticklechuck for 5 Canadian. Go ahead.
See, but the best part of waking up is have Arthur Stephen Walton's sphincter in your cup or something like that.
There you go.
The fact that he had to turn his camera off is priceless. Dude, that was the best. Mr. Tickletruck, 5 Canadian pesos. Today's Archie Bunker is Johnny Lawrence from Cobra Kai before it was Eric Cartman.
Yeah, he is not lying.
That's probably true.
I agree. Let's see. Toxic Fang Fang Bang Bang for 2 American pesos. Kamala is 5 extra.
Damn.
Dude.
But
Toxic Man, Toxic Fang Fang Bang Bang for 2 American pesos. Danny is stunning and brave.
Thank you.
He's I wouldn't mess with Danny. I wouldn't mess with Danny. I don't know about that, man.
I don't know.
All right, let's see. Where am I at? Oh, there we go. No, I caught it up. So we have a super sticker from Roger Haynes for $2.99 American pesos, Canadian pesos, which is a super sticker with a thumbs up. I really wish the super stickers would translate over in the StreamYard.
I know, but with Roger Haynes, it's always a thumbs up. Yeah. There you go. That's right.
I can't tell what they are.
Yeah, I have it pulled up on another screen so I can see it. Okay.
You would think if they get 10 people on one stream, they could get a little animation to go.
Right.
Yeah, you would think, right?
Yeah, what's funny is you can copy it over and it'll say like what the sticker is, which is not even close to what we think it is. It's like smiley, happy, rainbow-haired unicorn, whatever. It's just like you're like, what?
Yeah, Crazy Cat Guy for another 5 American pesos. I must run as I have an early day tomorrow. See you on FNT. Thanks for the stream. Thank you for stopping by, Crazy Cat Guy. He's got a picture of his cats.
Yep.
By the way, FNT should be awesome tomorrow. I can't wait for that.
One of my favorite shows.
Sorry, Danny, go ahead.
I said, I got to bounce too. It's 12:35 where I'm at.
We're wrapping it up, man.
Wrapping up.
All right, last super chat. We're done. Fat Steven Seagal beat up Disney for 2 Canadian pesos. Walton's Brew cures blindness. Asks Stevie Wonder.
Dude, I have to get a Stevie Wonder commercial now.
No, that's a vigilante thing. Keep that over there.
Okay, this is the last super chat. Darius Munchausen for $2. My news comes from CC, CD, DC, OMB, Wes, and Nerdrotic. You should probably get your news from elsewhere too, just to kind of round things
as many
out.
sources as you can, but
Yeah.
you can.
All right, since I know you got to bounce first, Danny, let's go ahead and tell the world about you and your channel and where they can find you.
I am Danny Graham, aka Comic Chat. I have I'm 1/4 of the Chaos Crew, part of a sponsor that made and founded by Chris Knight. We have several shows throughout the week. Next show that's coming up will be Saturday, which is a sports show called Square One. If you have opportunity, anybody that wants to go over there, we talk about mainly NFL, boxing, and NBA. This week I'm trying something different. If you want to come on the show, send me a question to my Twitter, which is Comic Chats with the S number and the number 2. If your question appears on the show, then I will send you a private link. You can come on the show and discuss the question with us. So that's me, Anzo, Roberto, Josh, and Chris. It's called Square One, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come check us out. Thanks again for inviting me, Comics. I appreciate it.
Always, man. You're an awesome guest. And one thing is, I always like how you ask questions that make us all think.
Take care, Danny.
Thank you, man. You have a good night. Catch you next time.
Take care, dude.
You're
See
awesome,
you.
man.
Take care, man.
Next up, we have Culture Casino with his fabulous locks of hair.
The hair of Fandom Menace.
That's right. Well, it's the eternal main if you ask Nerd Cookies, and she would know. She's awesome. I love Nerd Cookies. Anyway, I have a YouTube channel, Culture Casino. I have a live channel, Culture Casino Live, and I am going to be launching next week Culture Casino News. It's a separate channel. I'm going to actually get a separate email so I can't get separated from my...
Did you say nudes?
Only
Yes. News.
Culture Casino News.
News.
Oh, okay.
News. Anyway, thank you all.
Culture Casino does nudes?
Apparently, he has an OnlyFans comics.
Yeah, he does.
That's what Drew said.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys are not ready for this 6 inches. That's all I have to say about that. But,
only 6?
Well, I'm a grower, not a shower.
He's hung like a soda can.
Actually, beer can brown. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Anyway. No, so beyond all of that bologna sausage, I have a YouTube channel. Come check me out. I have a lot of fun. I'm growing. Thank you all very much. You guys rock. Thank you, Comics Division, for having me on as usual. And I love all of you in a weird way. Not the one way, but in the safe way. Anyway, have a great night.
Author Stephen Walton. He's the guy who likes coffee a little too much, one might say.
God, comics don't perpetuate these lies. We've been fighting false narratives in the media forever, and now my own team is a bunch of dick tips. Thank you guys so much for showing up. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on. Please subscribe to these wonderful people on this panel, and Vigilante Williamson, who was here, and Sporking, who was here earlier. Thank you guys so much for being supportive. Thank you for sharing out our channels and giving us comments and likes on our videos. That really does help, and dislikes help too. If you don't like the content, that also helps the algorithm. We don't have an industry to support us. We only have each other. Please subscribe to Ishii too. Forgot about him. Thank you guys very much. I am author Stephen.
Wait, Stephen. I know you're about to do the thing.
I was going to do it because I haven't done it in a few weeks.
Come back on camera for a second.
Okay.
So tomorrow I'm going to send you the papers. You got to sign the papers so I can get the coffee guys to send us the coffee. You're going to make a lot of money, so shut up.
Oh my God, you're not putting butt cheeks and stuff next to my face. And don't get Tommy's salty look. Tommy got like the most saltiest look I'd ever had in my life while I was shaved online and put it on everything. Don't do that.
Well, I was just going to use the one of you shirtless. I thought that
my
was
friends are. Don't come on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love you, Culture. I am author Stephen Walton, the Fandom Menace historian, your historian, born in the chats of the High Council with my brothers and sisters fighting for our modern mythologies. Wash your hands, wash your ass, be good to each other. Peace.
And last but not least, we have Drew, the Supreme Heretic.
Hey, what's up, folks? Drew Taylor here. I write for boundingintocomics.com. You guys might know me from over there from seeing me on Bounding Live on Wednesdays on the Bounding channel, but I also have my own channel. And usually on Thursday nights, we do our discussion of Battlestar Galactica with all these great guys right here. Because, oh, God, we've had comics on our show a couple times already, too.
Yeah, we have.
So, we talk about BSG on there. It's fun. Actual escapist entertainment. Who knew we could actually still talk about that? But we do that on Thursdays on my channel. I'm adding some new stuff. I still got a couple of new videos I got to edit and get up there because Culture Casino was so wonderful with this time and did those videos with me. And I'm going to be looking for people to do videos with in the future. So if you would like to get in on doing a reaction video with yours truly, let me know. Reach out on Twitter and we can possibly make that happen. But yeah, I appreciate everybody that subs to my channel, keeps it growing. I'm nowhere near being monetized, but we're creeping towards that. We're getting closer. So, one thing at a time. We got to hit 500 subs, but I think I'm somewhere like about 447 right now. So we're going to get there eventually. But thank you for your support. Thank you for being the most awesome chat on YouTube. And, most importantly, take care of yourselves and each other and keep the faith. We are going to change the culture, and it may take a while, but as long as we keep doing our part, we will.
And we will change Culture Casino. He will have an OnlyFans.
All right, one last super chat, then we're out of here. Steven Seagal beat up Disney for 2 Canadian pesos. Do you talk about golf? Asking for Stevie Wonder. Oh, dude. Real quick. Yes, Mind the Gutter. I have to say, I want everyone's feedback here. I think TM, you actually look good with the blue lipstick. That's yeah.
I'm digging it.
It works for you, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool. You match that with some blue eyeshadow and some of the, what do you call them, cyberware. That'd be freaking great.
Well, let's give Teresa props. She has a great channel in her own right.
Yeah, she does.
Good content on there. And,
can we get a link in the chat for that?
Absolutely support what she does because.
Hey, Steven, why are your hands so small?
Why? Because why are my hands are not small. I have big palms. Culture. It's about the.